The guy was in heaven and couldn't believe it. He vividly remembered just sitting there enjoying a Sunday anime and how he got there. Suddenly, someone asked him if he was Suta's Kazuha. The guy thought it was like he was in heaven. In front of him stood a girl with straight blonde hair with blue eyes and wearing revealing clothes. He didn't understand where such a beautiful cosplayer was from. He apologized to her and asked her name. The girl clarified if he came here to chat, and she would answer his previous question. He is in heaven. After careful research, it was decided to send him to another world. She's glad he asked that question. She is the beauty goddess Aphrodite, and she will send him to another world. But first, he needs to be instructed. The boy asked to wait a moment because he didn't understand anything. Aphrodite noted that this is a given. She is here just so that a scum like him does not die a miserable death in that world. She urged him to finish pawing her with his eyes and listen. Let him visualize the profile of the player in front of him. Kazuha remarked that she had really called him scum. He was hurt by it, but he would act like a mature and restrained man. He visualized the player's profile. He saw his name, Kazuhaya Suta, and his credentials. Turns out he's a tamer. He's going to potty train slugs. Aphrodite decided to explain to him. He's going to the world of Athelgade. The way the universe works there is that when a man is born, the heavens give him a destiny, a life path. And yet the monster tamer is the most useless and unnecessary destiny. It suits him. He's a miserable asshole. All he did on Earth was play with toys and watch anime. His profession is as useless as he is. Kazuhaya was amazed at what kind of girl she was, so cute on the outside, but a bitch in reality. And why is he a nerd? He's a diligent high school student. Can't you see he's in a school uniform? And then he has a hard time believing he's really in heaven with a goddess standing in front of him. For that matter, he wonders what his ball capsule is. He thought of it and it worked. All he has to do is think of something and the details appear on the panel by themselves. He wondered how he was going to get it. The profile opened up as he focused on it, and he wondered if it would work with the capsule. A moment later, the globular capsule appeared in his hands. Aphrodite had told him that a living capsule was a basic tamer item. If he hits the monster with it, there's a chance he could take it over. She said that she would send him to another world now. Kazuhaya asked her to wait. He wanted to do one experiment. The girl gave him permission. The guy stated that it was her own fault and threw a ball capsule at her. The girl was outraged at what he was doing. She had said that this item only worked on monsters and why he threw that ball at her. Suddenly, the capsule started pulling her body in. The guy's capsule ended up being Aphrodite the size of an eraser. She has very high stats and is definitely a goddess. The girl screamed that this is not funny. Let him release her, it's a crime against the gods. The guy stated that he just wanted to try it and couldn't resist. The girl asked her to please let her out. Honestly, he never realized what was going on or where he was. Whatever happened, there was now a goddess with him. He was suddenly summoned to heaven and made a monster tamer without asking his opinion. And the first thing he did was catch the goddess with a new skill. Suddenly something happened and everything around him changed. He saw a blue-colored sun and wondered what was wrong with those colors. He is definitely awake, and it turns out that he has really gone to another world. He's decided that the first step is to get to the nearest town. He thought that this path would lead him to it sooner or later. He spotted a monster, probably a goblin. Kazuhaya wondered if he should attack it. As is often the case in games, the first opponent the player encounters is the goblin, and this is his chance to try out the combat system. However, do monster tamers have to fight the enemy themselves? Then he remembered his globular capsule in which the goddess was sitting. Aphrodite didn't understand how this could happen. He knew she wasn't going anywhere, but he didn't understand how he could summon her. He thought he should try to concentrate on it like the previous times. He wished to summon the goddess, and then she appeared from the capsule. The guy said hello to her and said he was glad to meet her. Aphrodite was happy that she got out, and then she attacked the guy, asking him why he did it. Kazuhaya apologized. She just pissed him off a bit. She started threatening him. Kazuhaya told her to be quiet and not to yell or their monster would hear. The girl pointed out that it was just a goblin. The boy asked if she could handle it, to which the goddess agreed. She was so confident. Kazuhaya asked her if she could send him away. Aphrodite noted that there seemed to be no other choice, but afterwards she expected him to find out. The girl turned to the pitiful creature, noting that the goddess of beauty was addressing him. Until the heavenly punishment is done to him. Kazuhaya noted that it seems that something will happen now. After all, she is a goddess. Aphrodite used the divine wind. The boy mentally urged her to smear it, but something went wrong. The girl continued to call on the divine wind, but nothing happened. The goblin grabbed the goddess, and the goddess began to ask Sauda for help. He came to the conclusion that he had gotten a defective goddess. He didn't think they were asking for help. She'd said herself that only slugs could potty train monsters. Kazuhaya came to the conclusion that there was no other way out, and he had nothing to lose. He kicked the goblin and it passed out. It was an easy victory, and that's how he protected the goddess. Aphrodite didn't understand why this was happening to her. The guy urged her to keep her spirits up and called her Afro. The girl was indignant why he called her that, after which he apologized. If he wanted to call her short, he could just call her D. She's certainly against such familiarities, but it's better than Afro. Kazuhaya wondered why she couldn't handle that goblin. The goddess had completely forgotten that the power of the gods only works in the heavens. And in general, her magic turns all living things to ash, and if they were in heaven, she would have proved it to him. The boy didn't understand if the goblin was such a dangerous opponent. The goddess clarified if he had sorted out his abilities, they needed to see what was going on with her profile now. Everything but the girl's vitality had been reduced. She guessed that's how it would be, and the reason lies in his divine gift. The guy's divine gift is absolute dominance. Kazuhaya asked if the divine gift is different from skills. In general terms, a skill is something that he acquires with training and experience, but the divine gift is given from birth. And then it may not even be the case that throughout history, only a limited number of people were given this gift. The guy decided to read the details, but didn't understand anything. Aphrodite, she clarified if he knew why she was saying the blow was garbage. It was because the ball capsule's restriction that it can only be used to capture monsters no longer applies. The guy clarified that this meant that he would be able to capture people like them, too. Aphrodite confirmed it because it worked on her. He realized that there was a bug when I gave him the ability, and he had no other explanation. In other words, he's now a tamer of monsters and humans. The goddess clarified what was wrong with his profile. His stats had increased a lot, and he asked what kind of goblin gave him so much experience. The goddess stated that she couldn't get that much. The guy suggested that maybe it was because of something the goddess agreed with. He has such a level because of her. After all, he caught the goddess of beauty in the capsule, and that's why he was given so much experience. He was never there, and her secret patronage of him is in fact her secret patronage of him. She feels that at this rate, they will not be able to return to their worlds quickly. The boy didn't realize it was her, to which the goddess wondered if she hadn't told him. He was called to save the world. The prophecy says that the resurrection of a powerful demon is imminent, and unless he destroys it, it will not be able to return to its home, and that is why she called him. He honestly didn't understand why they were only finding out about it now. Then he clarified that the demon was not there yet. The goddess confirmed it, but the problem was that sooner or later he would be resurrected. Therefore, the gods decided to prepare for his return in advance. They send people from Earth like him here and make them heroes in this world. He realized there must have been others. However, when he destroyed the demon, he would be returned to Earth and lose his abilities. The goddess answered that they would stay with him. If a person was given some abilities, the gods could not take them away. So he'll be able to take all the creatures he collected in the orb capsule back to Earth. The goddess confirmed this, but the gods will keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid in his world. Kazuhaya stated that now we are clear, and he knows what he is going to do in this world. The goddess was pleased that he was determined to defeat the mighty demon, but the boy said he was not. She didn't understand what he wanted then, if he was the kind of guy who didn't want to go back to Earth. The guy said that of course he wanted to go to Earth, but he decided that he would tell her that his goal in this world was to collect as many beautiful girls as possible by means of absolute domination and take them to Earth with him. He will make a harem, and on Earth too, and it is a matchless, high-flying and unattainable vulture soaring voluptuous ether of male fantasies. And for that, he's willing to live in a world without anime games or even air conditioning. He'll destroy the mighty demon, but before he does, he'll assemble the perfect harem. The goddess asked if in the name of all the saints he thought she would let him do that. She was a goddess and would not be silent any longer. The boy said that he would not kill the mighty demon until he had gathered a first-class harem. And if he did not kill the mighty demon, she would not be able to return to her heaven. She wants to go to heaven, so he offers her a deal. Aphrodite realized she had no choice but to help him build a harem. The guy knew she'd say yes. From that moment on, he and the goddess began a plan called the Harem of Foreign Women. He thanked the goddess because, after all, thanks to her, he had gained a lot of experience. But for some reason, all the stats except intelligence didn't increase much. The goddess said there was nothing to be done about it because Tamer's usually had low scores. He realized that the problem was with the class itself. Then he noticed that there was something new in the skill, some kind of piercing eye, and it appeared from the level increase. The goddess alerted the guy that there was another goblin here. Suda decided to use the new skill. A panel of parameter signs appeared next to the goblin. The goddess urged the guy to deal with it, and she would do anything if he removed it. Sauda inquired that if he captures a monster does not kill, it got reduced experience. Grandpa was angry that he would get the same amount of experience. Don't let him do it faster. The guy started, and an hour later, he captured 18 goblins. Well, even with this angle to the next level, I have scrub looks like goblins aren't particularly valuable. Still, this capsule is a marvel. It holds so many goblins, and it's quite spacious. He also asked the goddess if there was any limit to the number of subordinate creatures. Of course, it seems that initially he can only subdue one monster, and each subsequent one requires 10 levels. So now he can collect 56 creatures. How is it even allowed him but literally one step away from what we can safely call it cheating? Then any battle is a cakewalk for him now. Despite the fact that all tamers must be quite weak, he somehow took out the goblins with just one kick. It turns out that with his level, at least in this clearing, he is one of the strongest warriors. Sauda had another question. If these goblins would listen to him at all, they would hardly like the fact that he kicked them and then put them in the capsule. The goddess said that he could not be disturbed, as no creature he caught in his capsule could disobey him. That means he can, even though he doesn't care if he doesn't feel other people's problems. But wouldn't that be too much? If all this is true, he can only do as he pleases with their great goddess as he pleases. It's such a great chance, and she'll be surprised. The guy stated that he wanted to conduct one experiment, after which he told the goddess to spin on the spot. The girl did not understand what he said, and whether they think that the great goddess will obey his order, but On suddenly began to spin in place. She didn't realize what was going on. She called the guy a jerk, and in the name of all the gods, what he was doing. Sauda stated that it was his fault, it was a terrible order, but let us agree, and he needed to make sure the skill worked. Also, the goddess has nice panties. If he wanted to give an order like that, he could just ask, and she hoped he didn't have the thought of ordering her to do something vulgar. He wondered how she knew if the gods had clairvoyant powers. She told him she would help him build a harem, but she would not become his concubine. Suda didn't understand why she would like it. She hit him, asking him what he was talking about. He was wrong. She's a goddess of beauty after all, and besides, they're kind of friends now. What kind of friend would he be if he was strong enough to drag her into the harem? He'd gotten a little carried away and needed to think about it. It wasn't clear how far they had to walk to the city. The goddess turned to the boy and said she wanted him to carry her in the capsule. He pointed out that she didn't like it there. The girl confirmed this, but she decided to explain to him that moving around is more comfortable. You don't get hungry and there is no stress. In addition, in the capsule, you can restore all your vitals, and it has a healing effect. The boy was amazed at the power of the capsule. And yet it has the effect of protecting against the curse of the gods who have descended to earth. Cursed is this house that she said the power of the gods only works in heaven. Yes, it is. And then the ball capsule, she cannot stomp her feet, but when the hero gets to the city, he can click it. She moved and asked him to be careful with the balloon. He called her a trickster goddess. Suda urged Dee to wake up. Girls, it seems, or he picked up more goblins. Turns out he's caught a total of about 37 creatures along the way. By the way, They've already reached the city, which is the trading town of St. Bell. He was surprised that he could read unfamiliar symbols. The goddess said that it is true that all trapped creatures are given the ability to understand and read the local language. He's seen goblin labor and orcs. It seems that monsters are used as labor in this world. He also saw a stone turtle working too, as a means of transportation. The goddess didn't understand why he was surprised. He is very wrong if he thinks that since she is a goddess, she should know everything. She was down to earth for the first time in years. He didn't understand why there was so much pathos. This goddess could do anything at all. He decided to take another look at her profile, not counting the living purity. She was sad. Sauda didn't understand why the skill line said unknown. Aphrodite stated that because of her hiding skills, they can't be seen, and because of it, others can't see her skills. He stated that she's a goddess if she has such an awesome skill. Useless, but still a goddess. If she has enough useful skills, they will have fun here. He wondered why she was looking away. The girl noted that because of the curse lies the table of her skill and blocked, and therefore what he said there, his expectations as if they. The boy realized that he had expected this. If the gods could display their full power here, there would be no need to send foreigners here as well. She really can't use her power and skills that don't work. But because of all this, he won't leave her. The guy was silent. The girl asked him to answer. He wouldn't leave her to her certain death after all. Does he really want her to cover for him so he can go to hell? Suda said he wouldn't leave her but let her stick to him. Now he has to take care not only of himself, but also of Aphrodite. First of all, he needs to find work for blood, food, clothing, and to maintain his fighting force. He needs money, which means their path leads here. And yet, if you need a job in another world, you should look for it here in the Adventurers Guild. The boy didn't realize what the girl was doing, and so urged him to look around. Did he see a single person who wasn't staring at them? Suda agreed that he was in a school uniform, and she had a heavenly robe that everyone would stare at. There's some dirty talk about the goddess. Apparently it wasn't about the two of them, just Aphrodite's attractiveness. He decided it was time to take matters into his own hands. The boys were greeted and asked if they were adventurers. Sauda marveled at the feline husband to the girl. She is beautiful and Namochka, just like in his dreams. Her name is Chloe, and she's so cute that she could be put in the capsule right now. The goddess asked him what he was thinking about. Chloe asked if there was anything she could do to help. Suda said that they were looking for a job, to which the girl noted that it was the first time they had gay ideas. The guy added that they had just come to this city. Chloe said she'd register them and asked them to put their name right here. He can not only read but write in their language, and it's incredible. In the guild, a card is a very important thing and he needs to keep it safe. Since this is his first time with them, she asked to be allowed to instruct him. Adventurers Guild is, in simple words, an organization where adventurers perform quests, that is, tasks coming from both public and private persons. The quests range from destroying monsters to finding a lost kitten. After achieving good results and increasing their rank, they can get more quests. He specified what he had to do to raise the rank, and all he had to do was to be useful to the guild and the rank would rise. Goddess pointed out that these were rather vague terms. It turns out that even if he successfully performs the job, but does not like the administration of the guild, his career growth may be delayed for eternity. It's just exploitation. Chloe stated that he was over there is the guild bulletin board. On the board hangs an advertisement with orders, and they need to take their first quest. She asked them to choose what they would like. Soda started to look, and these three would probably be good for him right now. Pacify goblins, pacify wolves, and gather healing plants. The guy specified how he'd prove he'd defeated the monster. He needs to bring some body part, for example. If it is a wolf, you need to bring a wolf's fang. The guy realized that now he better make friends with any monsters, and so he will take a quest to find healing plants. According to the quest brochure, newbies are supposed to get a gift of a newbie kit. The guy thanked for it, the real deal, and even judging by the rookie support alone. Goddess noted that you are very easy to approve. She didn't understand where they were going or why they shouldn't look here. Suda pointed out that they could do it here, but they'd have to find a more secluded and deeper corner. The boys said that they would let the goblins out to gather grass, But if they were spotted, there would be trouble, and they wouldn't want the adventurers to kill their fellow goblins. The goddess agreed with him. Overall, it was a good idea, but she was tired of walking, and could she rest in the capsule? Suda reached the place and thought it was time to start. Here is my little army of 37 goblins and 1 lazy goddess. He'd have to work so hard to gather that many. Suda urged them to listen to him here. They should gather the herbs painted here, and as soon as they found them, they should bring them here and put them at the roots of this tree. If they meet anyone other than him, they should run away immediately and not engage in battle. He put all his energy into this speech. But did they understand him? That you're not comfortable with him picking things up all by himself is no better. He'd make quick work of a bunch of kids. The goblins brought back many healing plants. Most of the goblins had already returned, and for 2 o'clock he had not found a single plant. And it seems that the intuition of the wild creatures had played a major role, but he caught another 15 new goblins, and that's not bad either. He should be done, but not all the little ones had returned yet. He thought that they were back, but the wolves came in front of him, and he realized that they had killed his goblins. He mentally told them not to expect mercy and not to pay for it. The 5 wolves surrounded him, and he wondered what his chances were with this balance of power. But he still had numerical superiority behind him. He released his goblins. It looks like the wolves will be stronger than the goblins, but the goblins are much more cunning, and in this case, the chances of victory for both sides are about equal. However, there are more goblins, so the majority will win. He also caught 5 wolves. Now, if they meet more goblins, they will probably have to give them to the wolves for food, so something will have to be sacrificed after all. Aphrodite said she'd had enough. Why should the goddess carry anything? The guy said that nothing can be done, and if you entrust it to the goblins, then closer to the city they will notice them. In addition, this job brings them 1 step closer to victory over the demon lord. By the way, he is a decent, so replenished the collection on the level for some reason still the same. Suddenly, there is a new skill. It can depend on the number of caught creatures. Crossbreeding is a skill he can use to create new monsters. He decided he would have to try it tonight. Chloe stated that their reward was 40,000 call. Sauda thanked her, and the girl decided to add that the guy was peerless. He managed this quest in only half a day, and they say that for a beginner to find at least 1 plant in a day is already a great success. The guy said that there was nothing difficult in it, although he did not collect them. But the compliments of such a cute girl warms in the chest. The guy asked the goddess how much money it is approximately in Japanese yen. Aphrodite replied, 1 call is worth a little over 1 yen, so you earn more than 40,000 yen in half a day. The goddess noted that it was too much for him to find. They need to find a hotel. A day's stay, 2 meals a day costs 4,000 coal. Aphrodite was indemnified that it was a shanty town and there was no better hotel. Sauda stated that they have a roof over their heads and a separate room. Besides, they don't have much money and the boys need to be fed. The goddess said she'd go to the pod then. Suda wondered how many times this goddess had slept today. The bed is ready, the monster is fed, and he decides to start testing the crossbreeding. It turns out even a goddess can be crossed, and if he crossed her with a goblin, what would he get then? He'd be interested in testing it, but he'd refrain from doing so and choose the goblin. Now he has to choose which creature he'll use. Goblin and wolf can't be crossed, then only goblin and goblin remain. Crossbreeding a goblin with a goblin will produce an elite goblin. His statuses have risen and wolves do not scrape them now, and it turns out that elite goblins can also be crossed. It turns out that the goblin is a knight, and the number of monsters he has is limited. He must use their fusion and pumping mind. After 20 minutes and 42 ordinary goblins, he managed to create 1 elite goblin and 10 knights. The equipment and appearance also changed. You can say that the elite goblin is a brave newcomer, and the goblin knight is a hardened leader. It seems that the goblins are not further knights, and it turns out that at the moment he has the maximum strong army. He called them until tomorrow. May victory be with them. Some girl was running through the forest. Men were running after her and shouting that she had escaped. We must catch this thing. The girl didn't realize what was next. It seemed like things would be different now since he disappeared. The men said that if Bakraha ran away, they'd kill them. They didn't realize if the potion didn't work on the girl, and they had no other choice. They'd be in a bit of trouble if they spoiled the price of the merchandise. But it's better than letting them get away with it. They ordered the arrows to fire. Then one arrow hit the girl in the back, but she fell off the cliff and asked the mighty demon to save her. The goddess asked the boy where they were going, if the forest was not in the other direction. Suda decided to go to a place. Silver Shield is a trading shop with a license from the guild. He heard them from Chloe, and thanks to a license from the guild, and adventurers are exempt from paying the duties imposed on the goods. So the prices here are affordable and they can take everything they need. They were greeted by a man and asked what they would like. Suda noted that they needed some comfortable clothes for starters. Vendor Edgar saw and noted that they were dressed as if they had drunk the first thing in sight. He urged them to follow him. The goddess inquired if they would buy her clothes too. The boy confirmed this as her current outfit was too much of an attention grabber. The girl was happy about the price of buying new clothes for the first time. Only regulated outfits can be worn in the sky. Sauda wondered if the world would split in half if they went casual. Yet she is happy in the store, even acting like a normal girl. The man has brought them to the outfit department, and he can advise them this product is just right for them. There were adventurers' uniforms and shoes on display, and the price of these things is so chic. For men and women, different designs, after which he asked the goddess if she liked it. Aphrodite said that this is a bar for commoners and she likes this one, a witch's dancer's outfit. The boy noted that it was flashy and the price was high. He answered the goddess that no, they buy clothes to avoid being stared at, not the other way around. Aphrodite didn't understand what this had to do with clothes because clothes are a matter of admiration. She, as a goddess of beauty, cannot compromise on decisions. He is left with one thing and can try to give her a small compliment. He called her silly coy and said that she was charming in her own right, but so much so that ordinary clothes would not hide her beauty. The girl was embarrassed and asked if he wanted to propose something unexpected. He didn't understand why she was so embarrassed, and didn't such beauties like her get tired of such compliments? The goddess said that she was not embarrassed at all, and that such things sounded strange from him, so she was afraid. The relationship between gods and men is weak, so she has never heard such words from men before. Or guys, it's unexpected, she is a goddess of beauty, and he thought that men are flooding her with beautiful words. Aphrodite said it couldn't be helped if he insisted, but she was willing to compromise. He thanked her. The girl said that she looked rather plain in those clothes. The guy stated that it looked good on her, to which the girl replied that it looked good on him too. She feels like she has finally made peace with the world. He didn't think the clothes would fit so comfortably cheap and high quality. That's lucky. The guy suggested that she leave the bag and go into the woods. The goddess agreed and stated that she would be helping today as well. Sauda turned to the goblins and said that today they are doing what they did yesterday, and he ordered them to go to work. And for crossbreeding, there are fewer of them, but he thinks now the wolves don't flap. The guy urged the goddess to gather plants and new companions too. After a while, the girl suggested he take a break, for she was tired. Guy noted that the lazy side of the girl returned. They just started. Well, if she wants, she can go back to the capsule. The goddess noticed that she couldn't see a single feature of the flower. Suddenly, she noticed something and asked the boy to pay attention to the tree where the girl with the arrow in her back was. They didn't understand how she was there. Maybe she had fallen off a cliff, and in any case, she had to be rescued. The goblins weren't back yet. He'd have to climb it himself. He got her down from the tree with a little bit of effort. I look at her and he realized she's badly injured. She hadn't just fallen off a cliff. She had an arrow sticking out of her shoulder, and he let her lie there for a while. He used his piercing eye and saw that the girl's name was Caroline Barton. A girl with a beautiful face named Caroline, and why she'll be a maid. He noted that she was 372 years old, but looked younger than 20. Aphrodite claimed to be a demon vampire. Demons are the common name for all those who allied with a powerful demon 300 years ago. Demons once had great power to subjugate humans, and she had heard that they threatened even a god. Sauda wonders how the demon ended up in the forest. The goddess has no idea, and as far as she knows, when the mighty demon died, and the other demons lost all their power and have been hiding from humans ever since. The girl is badly wounded, and if they leave her, she will die in less than an hour. The boy asked if it was possible to save her by force, but the goddess said it was not impossible. Before she could heal her wounds with magic, but now she has no magic power at all. There is only one way to save her. The ball capsule has the ability to restore health. Didn't she say so? And tamers are incapable of subduing vampires, but with absolute dominance, he'll save her life. In short, it's up to him to decide whether or not to live, and it's a tough choice. I can't believe the guy didn't realize it. That's how a son-in-law and owning the life of a girl he doesn't know makes him feel guilty, but he has to do it. Her name is now in the column and everything seems to have worked out. Finally, for the first time since he came to this world, he has leveled up and apparently vampires don't get many experience points. He wondered who she really was and what had happened to her. Honestly, he hadn't realized what had happened yet, but he knew he'd caught a nice vampire. 3 hours later, they've collected more than they did yesterday. And yet, though the goblins show no sign of fatigue, the pace of their work is clearly slowing down. It looked like they had collected almost all the medicinal plants in this forest, and it was useless to work any further. Sauda thanked the goblins and urged them to return to the capsule. It was time for the goddess, and he could do nothing without her. If he bows down before her, then maybe today she will help carry his loot too. The goddess asks him why he is frozen. She asks him to say that she is the most beautiful goddess Aphrodite, the goddess who outshines the beauty of the sun, and let him beat his cheek. The goddess asked why he froze. She asks him to say that she is the most beautiful Lady Aphrodite goddess outshining the beauty of the sun, and let him beat his forehead on the ground, then he will think. He called her a bitch, and that she takes advantage of other people's weaknesses. Then he remembered about absolute dominance, because it is the subjugation of all living things. So does it mean that he can take over any natural objects? The guy decided to try it and use the capsule to take all the healing plants. He was surprised that it had worked out and seemed to have no limitations at all. The goddess agreed with him and pointed out that this was her way of joking with him. Sauda, for what he now realized, was like her, and there was no way a kind girl like her would say such things. It's good that he realized that you're growing up in her eyes. Good for you. In that case, since he's grown up, she has less and less work to do. The goddess began to apologize. She had overstepped her bounds, and she had been helping him in good faith before, so he shouldn't leave her. The guy says he understands, so she's off his back. So the guys made 64,000 calls. Chloe stated that he was a real marvel, which made the guy feel really good. No one understood what kind of newcomer it was, and I think this guy who registered yesterday, his lawyer's over there, and together with some hottie. Maybe it's the one with the weird clothes that showed up. Suda noted that they had attracted attention after all, and the healing herbs were almost gone from the forest, so they would do another quest tomorrow. On the way, they met a girl who apologized and asked if they wanted a tasty apple. She is only about 7 years old, and in this world, even a child like that, you have to work. The goddess stated that she wants to eat and maybe they will buy some home. Suda asked the girl for 10 apples. It was very tasty, just like on Earth, but tastes richer. By the way, it seems to be the first sweet food he's had since he got here. Suddenly, a man called out to them. It was Bakraja Ackerman. The other people were afraid why he was here. This Ackerman showed them a photo and asked if he knew this girl for her. In the picture was a picture of Carolina. He didn't understand why they wanted Carolina or who they were. Ackerman asked that they froze if they knew anything. Suda replied that he had no idea who she was and that they had no idea who she was. The man was outraged at how dare he speak in that tone of voice and whether he even knew who he was talking to. He's the 4th biggest slave trader in town, Mr. Bakraja Ackerman. Now the boy understands, though mentally he doesn't, if he shows any more disrespect or loses his life. Despite the fact that this girl is their purchased merchandise, the rascal decided to run away. The picture is becoming clearer to the boy. Caroline didn't want to be enslaved, so she ran away. During her escape, she fell off the cliff. Suda said he realized the bounty he was bringing her for. He's rumored to be in the slave business, too. The goddess has some kind of bad premonition. People told them they were suicidal, and if they got caught by the Lord, terrible things would happen. The boys didn't know what they were talking about. The townsmen said they didn't know Mr. Bakraju. Sauda replied that they were new to the town. The townsman said not to listen and memorize, and he only begs and speaks softly. It is said that the Lord only spends his life in filthy pleasures with his slave girls. At the same time, he brutally takes the lives of countless slaves. If he drags him to the mansion and makes a contract to own it, he's finished. Sauda realized what had happened to Caroline. She decided it was best not to get involved. Ackerman started yelling at the little girl. "Who the hell is she, putting apples out here, and she has a license to sell them?" Suda pointed out that it was the same girl. Ackerman grabbed her arm and told her that bad girls deserve to be punished, and that she should go home with him and he would teach her a lesson. Suddenly, Sauda stepped in and asked the man what right he had to do that. Using force on children is not a dignified act for an adult. He decided that he would not interfere, but there was no other way out, and his whole soul was turning inside out. Ackerman noted that something again. He's a lawyer. Does he have a claim? The only claim he has is that enslaving little girls is only allowed in the 2D world. People like him should only exist in Japanese manga, although in reality he will understand something from his words. Bakraju said that he was silent, and how dare he not answer him. Then the guy got here and called the guy to die. Suddenly there was a goblin who defended his master. Ackerman was amazed that he was a monster tamer. Suda noted that the man moved well. Ackerman said that he would make that monster tamer regret having resisted his will and urged his men to capture him. The guy was surrounded. Sauda summoned the goblins and ordered them to protect them. Ackerman was shocked that there were so many of them and it couldn't be. Sauda noted that the enemy is scared and this is their chance. They have weapons apparently, they made them out of wood, and they will make a promising army. Ackerman took the girl hostage and said that this was it. Either his troops retreat and listen to his orders, or he would slit the girl's throat. The girl stood there crying. Bagraju asked the boy what he was standing for if he really wanted her to die. Suda said that he understood everything, but there was one more thing he was going to do first. The guy threw the capsule right at the man and noted that he was caught. In the capsule, Mr. Slave Trader began to ask to be let out. Sauda said that he should start and not wake up until he told him to. The villain was caught. This is the kind of plot development the townspeople had to flee. Sauda asked the girl if she was okay, if she was hurt. The girl replied to her brother that she was thankful he saved her. At least the girl was all right. He was overcome with emotion again, his skill at absolute submission. He thinks that depending on his intentions, it can be a dangerous weapon, and if you use it homelessly, you can disrupt the harmony of the universe. The goddess doesn't like to say that, but he should know that he was very good today. The boy didn't believe it, because Aphrodite is not capable of such words. The girl told him to fuck off and get a move on. The guy agreed the whole day was coming to an end, and they went to find a hotel. Today, thanks to the goblin, they earned a lot more than he expected. But they didn't get a room that was almost twice as expensive as yesterday's, and they wanted to take a bath so badly that they had to splurge. He also caught 18 goblins and better strengthened his combat power. It's an excellent result, but it's not all smooth sailing. They had the demoness Caroline Barton and the capsule healed her wounds, but suddenly the girl started to give up sounds and the guy asked if she had come to her senses. Sauda stated that she seemed to have mistaken him for someone else. The girl stood up abruptly and declared that there was no forgiveness for her. Chapped her up well and she doesn't understand where they are. Sauda answered her that they are at the inn in town and they found her injured in the woods, so they took her with them. Caroline vaguely remembers it was them bailing her out when she was hanging from a tree. Her eyes were blurry, but she remembered everything in general terms. It turned out to be correct, and could she express her gratitude to them? Suda said she should not. The girl noted that she forgot to introduce herself. Her name is Caroline Barton. Well, if he wants to turn her in just Carly, the people closest to her can call her that. She asked the guy's name and he introduced himself as Kazuhaya Sauda. Caroline asked with his consent if he would allow her to express her gratitude to him. The guy didn't quite understand her. She apologized for her impertinence in being brought here as a slave. Humanity blossomed and the people drove the demon into the dwellings. And demons had to hide, and if they were caught, they were sold to the nobility, but she didn't even have anywhere to go. So maybe if he's okay with it, she'll join him and he'll let her help him on his journey through life. Sauda stated that it wasn't necessary, but what if he found her as a maid or something like that? Caroline stated that it would be fine and she is an overtalker, but she is also quite confident in her fighting skills. If he lets her join his adventure, she will be very useful to him and she can also help him make money. Suda doesn't doubt it because her stats are quite high and she can trust her words. Besides, if she's alone, she'll probably be in trouble again. The boy agreed, and he sees no reason to refuse her. The girl thanked her master. He didn't understand, to which she replied that he had become her master, so she would call him accordingly, or it sounded weird. Suda said that it was not strange at all, and from now on she would call him master forever. What a fortune the girl called him master, and he doesn't have to pay her for it. Kalina stated that if he wants her to do something to keep you from being let him tell her, and if he has orders, she is going to obey everything. Of course, to everything, the master saved her life and her soul is his. Now let her be wiped out in the dust for him. Sauda was shocked if you think of it that way to improve the odds. The maid with silver hair and scarlet eyes is on the bed and ready for anything. The realization made everything in him tremble, turning me inside out. Suddenly, Aphrodite appeared and announced that she had emptied the tub. The boy remarked that she would have come out naked, and Aphrodite noticed that the girl was awake. Caroline was horrified and asked what the goddess was doing here. Sauda wondered how she realized it was a goddess. Demon gods are two sides of the same whole. Because they were created to be complete opposites of each other, they sense her essence. Sounds about right. But when Aphrodite saw Carly, she definitely said she was a demon. Well, now that everything's revealed itself, this girl, Aphrodite, Carly was horrified how one of the 12 Olympian gods ended up on Earth, except for a highly ranked sky god. Aphrodite claimed all the right things. Her name is often heard in video games, but I didn't think I was in this world. Aphrodite is a famous person. He manages to get a goddess and a demoness in possession of incompatible goddesses at the same time. But first of all, they must confess to her that they have accepted her into the team to fight a powerful demon. However, the girl herself clarified that it turns out that the Lord, together with the goddess, to travel to destroy the powerful demon. I am clear, and then she too will do her best to help her master. Suda thanked the girl. Carly asked if she could use the shower too. The goddess said sure, and she didn't run the hot water. Carolina met a strange person. She really recently heard that you in the world will appear a hero of the other world, but she had heard nothing of the goddess's divine protection. She knew that there was only one holder of such power in the world, the great mighty demon Lord Ibris. With the power of subjugating all demon kings, he had rigidly established his authority in this world. When she first saw Mr. Suda, his face reminded her of a mighty demon. As a maid, she was never as devoted to anyone as she was to Mr. Ibris. Then she fell in love with him, and her intuition tells her that Mr. Suda is the reborn Mr. Elbris. The soul of a demon of immense power like him does not die after the death of the body. And so it came to pass that a famous soothsayer had prophesied the rebirth of a powerful demon. But it seems that Mr. Sauda realizes this. If the prophecy was true, the Lord would soon gain the power of the mighty demons, and she had no doubt that he would once again be the ruler of this world. Caroline didn't realize what had gotten into her. I shouldn't get so excited. And the day would come when she would be able to favor him just like in her dreams. Suda pointed out that I got up more, so they need to earn. He still has another Bukraja. Caroline will also send in a capsule for a while, and it will be better. But almost all the target plants they have already collected. What to do now? Other adventurers said that new quests have been added. Yesterday, there was a downpour over the Zumalia swamp, and that's how the monsters activated. Sauda saw 3 quests: subdue light mushrooms, subdue amoebic slug, and collecting mushrooms for healing food. All the quests are not bad, and here is near the Zumalia swamp, so you can take them all at once. 2 hours later, they found themselves in the swamp. Caroline was amazed they really can go in and out of the capsule freely, all taming absolute domination, and yet it's too much for a mere human. Suda asked the girl what she was burning. Suddenly, their attention was diverted by Aphrodite and told them that a monster mushroom was bearing down on them. Sauda turned to Carla and said that he would like to see her skills, if she would mind if he entrusted her with the mushroom. If she can, she won't kill his questions or solve the forces. He'll be very grateful to her. Caroline told him to trust her, and she should impress the master. But suddenly the mushroom used his attack. He shouldn't have made her fight, not knowing the opponent's ability. Carolina noted that she could feel the mushroom flavor, but she just blew away the mushroom spores using wind magic. She attacked the flu and noted that it seems like everything. Sauda stated that it was peerless. It was super and the fight could be relied on. The girl thanked him. Suddenly, Aphrodite stated that she would be the most useful and energetic. Sauda said that together they would quickly fulfill the quest. This time and the task to collect medicinal mushrooms. As of healing plants, they will cope with the tactics of the goblin avalanche. Only this time, and we should divide into 3 teams, his team, Team Aphrodite and Team Carolina. Alone to give out orders is not very effective. If they can handle it quickly, he would still like to take up the task of taming the monsters. If something happened and he needed them, would they be okay with new orders? Carly agreed. After a moment, the girl was amazed at how many creatures he had. It's amazing. Sauda really thinks you're adorable, though she's deluded by children and there's just no one to compare you to. Caroline stated that it is said that the tamers of the 3 creatures are already great men. Aphrodite noted that the guy finally got so many experience points from her goddess, as many as it took for him to keep her from handing out jobs here. The guys didn't understand why she had such a smug smile. Sauda for not sharing like that then. He turned to the goblins and stated that they should follow the orders of Aphrodite and Caroline. If anything happens, they should be protected to the fullest. 10 minutes later, one goblin came back, and the guy who lived there quickly takes his hat off to him. He wants to fulfill the gathering of healing mushrooms, but before he does, there is something he has to do. He released Buckraj Ackerman. Go started to resent where he was. He gave him the task of sleeping in a ball when he caught him, and it seems for this uncle everything is just beginning. Sauda launched a light mushroom at him and ordered him to use the paralyzing powder. The powder of this mushroom is even better than he thought. It's got a range of about 2 meters, and for a tamer like him, it's the way to go. He decided he would bring the wolves just in case, but what would he do with him now? The number of tamed creatures he has is limited, and there's no reason to keep him in the balloon, and there's no reason to keep him alive. Ackerman screamed that it made him better to kill him, and he wouldn't be a pathetic errand boy. Sauda mentally asked him if he was a hentai knight surrounded by orcs. No matter how much that uncle yells at him to kill him, he doesn't get excited. And he can't kill him and let him go either. In that case, he told him to calm down, and Sauda doesn't deal with someone like him. Ackerman, can you tell me if he's letting him go? But he doesn't let him go, and he doesn't kill him. Then what does he do? To which the guy replied that he is his. Sauda made a cross between the wolf and the man. Ackerman didn't realize what he had done to him, and a moment later a werewolf appeared. He looks pretty cool. Maybe he speaks Japanese. Problem solved, and apparently he does all his bidding. So unexpectedly, he has created the strongest monster in his collection. To collect so much, teamwork is a lot of work, and probably goblins are the kind that fully reveal themselves when working in a group. Caroline turned to the host and stated that she had killed a light mushroom. Here is the proof of its body part. Aphrodite shared that she brought more materials, to which the guy thanked them. Aphrodite and Carolina, he gave another assignment. Now they can perform simultaneously, and the quests for pacification. This time they have a big loot. The girl wondered how they would carry it all away, if 3 at a time was too much. The guy said not to worry and moved everything into the capsule. Caroline stated that it is amazing and she admires how he uses the fat capsule, and she doesn't doubt him. Every new reaction from Carolina makes him uncomfortable, and besides, he has his goddess to replace him. Then he noticed it had disappeared. It had been grabbed by an amoebic slug and was screaming for help. Sauda noted that it was the same slug and it was over 2 meters tall, and by stats, it was the strongest of the wild creatures he had seen. The goddess asked to save her because this monster was sticky, and she felt uncomfortable. The boy asked her to hold on, because now he will save her. But the slug had knocked the capsule away. He noted that no one had ever knocked it away, and he hadn't thought about it. So knocking it away didn't mean hitting it. He didn't know what to do. The mushroom's paralyzing powder was unlikely to reach him, and Aphrodite might get hurt. Caroline had asked her master to trust her to do it. With her leg strength, she could easily reach him. The guy noted that she was so confident, and he thanked her. If she carries him at least 1 blow, he will have 1 chance to throw him a capsule. Sauda worriedly asked the goddess what was wrong with her. She was screaming so strangely. Aphrodite stated that the monster was probing her hiding places. The guy saw that he was pulling off her clothes. Did he really think the clothes would keep him from eating her? He urged to do something naughty to her, and mentally supported the amoebic slug. Could it be that Caroline had read his mind? Carolina was angry that it was the goddess of hell who had seduced her master, and Carolina made sure to slime her too. She declared to her master that she was not forgiven. The guy couldn't believe he even caught Carolina. It seemed to him, by the way, or she ran herself and surrendered everything without resistance. Carolina said that his tentacles were lighter than she thought. This tearjerker is once again dragging clothes like a god, and by God, how beautiful it is. The goddess asked him to save them quickly. Caroline also asked him to save them as he wants to. Sauda didn't understand what to do. He shouldn't get a glimpse, and if he doesn't save them, he might eat them. He threw the capsule and caught the amoebic slug. The girls were rescued. Caroline declared that the master had lived up to all expectations. For him, this military expedition turned out to be a rich catch. They completed all the quests, and he caught 7 mushrooms and 1 slug. You can even try crossbreeding creatures in the evening, and he has a smile on his face when Chloe praises him. Their reward for the quest amounted to 76,000 coal. Sauda thanked Chloe, to which he replied that he was as peerless as ever. Usually she could handle this amount of work in over a year, but to gather so much material in one day was the first time she had ever seen such a thing. The guy said they didn't deserve that kind of praise. Did Chloe really have a crush on him? Because she's always praising him? She's so kind. Then maybe he offered her to go out with him and have dinner together. Ho said that some other time. Outsiders on Earth in another world are outsiders too. How sad it is. At least he had the money now. So he would go now and buy everything in the department store. Sauda asks Caroline if she needs anything. And in her new life, she probably has different needs. And if she needs something, don't be shy and say so. The girl thanked him. Then she would be glad to have comfortable clothes that were easy to move in. But it was hard to move in clothes that were bitter. The owner agreed. And then Caroline added that if he could buy her a change of underwear. She had only the clothes she was wearing now. Suda agreed and noted that he would have to choose carefully. The goddess said that she also wanted lingerie, but the guy clarified that she hadn't bought any yesterday. Aphrodite said that women's underwear is such a thing that is never a lot. The guys came to the Silver Shield trading shop with a guild license. This is the place of the lingerie trade. Women's underwear in this world is no different in design than on Earth. The other day he learned from Mr. Edgar, the owner of the shop, that in this world there is a rubber-like material that can be easily processed. It seems that the history of underwear here goes back many centuries. In short, as an admirer of panties of young beauties, here we'll find something that will pleasantly surprise him. Right now, the first place for him is still the classic lingerie. The girls were looking at the lingerie, and Aphrodite suggested to Caroline to see how cute the lingerie was. However, the girl replied that it seems to be too old for her. He decided to see what it was expected. Aphrodite chose a cute little thing of Brodsky red and Caroline opposite a sexy purple. It's hard to choose between super and badass. Aphrodite indignantly asked him why the hell he went with them and let him get out of here, and Caroline said she was fine with it. He was kicked out though, and I didn't realize he was going to go see something. By the way, he's got a goo knight, and why are they carrying sticks? If you give them stronger weapons, they will be more useful in battles. Suda turned to Edgar and asked if he had any weapons that would be suitable for beginners. Edgar stated that there was something but couldn't recommend it to him. He does not have a specialized store and has few weapons that he himself is familiar with, let alone repair. For beginners, it is better to buy a weapon in a specialized store. Many stores after purchase provides free repairs for some time. Sauda was surprised, and Edgar said that if he wanted to, he could suggest a gun store in the city. The boy agreed. After a few moments, he asked Caroline what she was wearing on her next trip. The girl came out of the dressing room and said that she was so expensive and whether this uniform really suited her. The girl was wearing a ranger suit and leather boots. Suda told her not to worry about the price, and she guessed with the choice. For this, the girl was grateful to him a lot. The guy thought about that tight belly button and that zone of bliss just like in his dreams, Carly and tight. Aphrodite stated that doesn't the guy think Carly's clothes are 6 times more expensive than hers? The ranger cost 9,000. Sauda stated that if she was so insistent, they would buy her something new sometime next time. Aphrodite that they would definitely buy, and he gave his word. And finally, the last one was the gun store that Mr. Edgar had suggested to them, after which they would go home. Sauda said that it must be him from the description of the route. Aphrodite suggested not going to that store, and Caroline stated that she would have gone somewhere else as well. The store was called probably there anyway. The shopkeeper was a grumpy weirdo uncle. It's closed, and there's no way in, so some other time. Suddenly, a gnome girl named Seal Otarlod came out of there. The girl greeted the light sky and said that they had not seen each other for a long time. The guys were surprised to see the girl. Ciel asked the guys if they were going to the store, to which Suda said that she must be the owner of the store. The girl replied that she is in charge of the Scarlet Blade and her name is Ciel Otarlod. The girl clarified what kind of weapons they are looking for. She finally finished the rubble we can serve them. Wow, the store is the envy of a 13-year-old girl, and what is it that so many do not come here? Suddenly, the girl worried asked Mr. Adventurer, "Are these girls with him?" And he confirmed it. Seal stated that it was like ice water because it was the first time she had seen such charming visitors and not a striking beauty. Caroline blushed. Aphrodite stated that it had been decided that they were buying weapons here. He reminded the goddess that she had just suggested looking for another store, and Aphrodite immediately stated that it was a long time ago and she didn't remember anything. She was barely kept on her toes by his beauty at first sight, and the babe is showing promise. She's sure she knows her Kuznetsky business. Suda wondered why these two were even here. Seal greeted the boys inside and told them to take their time and look around. The outside is so creepy looking, but the inside is clean and comfortable. As he had thought, the market stall had nothing to counteract the wealth of a specialty store. On the other hand, there is so much merchandise that it's overwhelming. Seal senses that Mr. Adventurer is not yet experienced in weapons and may be able to suggest something. The guy agreed and he will be very grateful to her, but the weapon is not needed, not for him but for the Goblin Knight. The girl apologized, but unfortunately she had never picked up weapons for monsters before. He suggested that she had not met any tamers among the customers before. The girl shared that there were, of course, but few people buy weapons for monsters, primarily because not all monsters can use weapons. Sauda agreed among the monsters that he had seen weapons could only be used by Goblin Knights. Not in the city of Leon did he encounter any goblins upgraded de elite goblin or goblin knight. It's probably almost impossible to instill weapon proficiency in monsters unless you have the monster crossbreeding skill. The boy offered to look at some kit and have her please show him something kind of inexpensive for a beginner. Seal accepted his request. The girl showed him a bronze sword, a round shield, a bronze spear, and a bronze mace. The boy was amazed now his goblin definitely looked like knights. And when he equips all the Goblin Knights, he'll have his own squad of unstoppable and the price won't bite. The guy stated that they were trying all the weapons now, and then he would buy 3 more shields. Seal thanked him. Tomorrow they will fight and see if these weapons are suitable for goblins. The hostess noted that the last one could be his name for their visitor's card. The repair is free, and if the weapon gets dull, he can bring. They're always happy to see him, so the guy says he's happy. Finally, the guys can rest. Today they have done so many things, and the level has not increased 1 iota. However, there is a new skill, a contact that looks like telepathy. If it's true, this skill will do a lot of good. Here, he looked at the girls and decided he was trying it out now. He just needs to get his thoughts straight. He said that he was testing a new skill, and it seems that he had learned the skill of telepathy, and if the girls could hear him, they could respond with a thought voice. And Aphrodite mentally stated that maybe the voice in her head belongs to a guy. Caroline's thoughts stated that it was adorable and she was very impressed. So now they can talk to the host all 24/00 a day. He suggested that they try different ways to sweat the contact and whether they would help him. The girls said yes, what else can they do? The guy stated that in general, everything is clear and it's a super useful skill. The main point is nothing will work without his input. His monster warriors, Aphrodite and Caroline, cannot establish a connection with each other. But even with this skill is still cool, and especially that he can send commands to those in the capsule. The goddess asked if they were done. The boy confirmed it and thanked her for her help. Aphrodite stated that she would be the first to shower then, and Caroline decided to do the laundry. Suda decided that he would do some monster crossbreeding. So far, he had caught 8 light mushrooms and 2 amoebic slugs. He ended up with only one possible combination, light flu and amoebic slime. The ability was a disorder powder that put opponents into a state of sexual attraction. Sauda decided that he needed to make sure of it immediately. He summoned the crazy mushroom and saw that it had a different color cap and also an appearance quite like the light mushroom, and yet, how can he have an experience? If he orders the spores to be sprayed on a girl, it could be considered sexual harassment. He figured that if he contacted a crazy mushroom and ordered it to spray the spores, the victim wouldn't even realize he'd done it. If anything happens, but all in all, it's the perfect crime. The goddess came out of the shower and noted that the guy made a new monster. What a cute and pink hat he has. It's a very handy skill to create such creatures, and you can make as many strong monsters as you want. And the day when he would defeat the mighty demon and she would return to heaven was even closer. Suda decided to let the date chance fall. Then he ordered the MANHWA to dissolve the disorder powder. The goddess inquired what this powder was. However, this debate took out of the guy himself. A very rash act, and it looks like the disorder powder has a larger attack zone than the paralyzing powder. Aphrodite got the guy down and realized that something was happening to her body. She was very hot. Sauda realized that his body is also burning and he can't resist. They experience sexual desire from the mad mushroom powder, and this is such an uncomfortable situation. But now he was unable to sanity. Aphrodite's body is so sexy. Has forever been such a... Aphrodite asked the guy to measure for a moment. Well, suddenly Carolina appeared and poured a bucket of water on them. She asked the couple if they had come to their senses. Aphrodite was shocked out, ordered the guy not to look at her. She didn't understand what was going on and couldn't be. What wasn't going on here, she didn't like him one bit and let him think no wrong. Caroline thought of that sly cat wagging its tail at her master, and she wanted to kill it. Suda turned to Caroline. The girl asked her host what was wrong, and mentally thought that she should keep her feelings in check. The guy noted that similar because of the contact part of the thoughts leaked out, and as if to say whether it was exactly what she had said. But now I don't know that cold water helps against the skills of the crazy mushroom. Carolina used to be attacked by crazy mushrooms when she lived in the village, and she knows how to resist them. The girl asked God that in the future when he tests a skill, he should use it. Unlike Miss Aphrodite, no matter how embarrassing, she would not run away. Suda said he would think about it, but didn't understand why the girl would. Although he disguised his command to attack as contact, apparently Caroline had figured him out. Are his erotic thoughts not seeping into his head? That night he couldn't sleep for a long time. No one understood what this ridiculous quest was, if the guys wanted to take it. Very funny though, they promise a good amount of money, but they are afraid that in the other world they will not need it. The guys went to the guild and noted that there was a lot of people at the bulletin board. It was an emergency quest to subdue a bird-like dragon with a reward of 3 million call. So that's why there was such a crowd, and that sounds tempting and we should ask Chloe about it. The girl said that this quest appeared the other day and information from eyewitnesses who visited the forest of Casella. The purpose of this basilisk is an extremely dangerous predatory monster, and they say that he can use fire breath. The girl recommends that they prepare thoroughly for this quest. Basilisk, as far as he knows, he can spit poison, and his gaze turns the entire dwelling into stone, but it seems in this world he only uses fire breath. There is something to be afraid of. Well, a couple still did not take this quest. He thinks it will take him a long time, and so he suggested they go to the swamp again today. Aphrodite pointed out that it is 3 million, and it is a chance to make a lot of money. Sauda also thought that it was very tempting, but such a high price does not hint that the quest is very dangerous. Don't they not only want to take the risk, they want to come back alive? Noted that it was the one who threw the ball capsule to the great goddess who was telling her this. She noted that he was being overly cautious. Caroline stated that when it comes to basilisks, it is a vicious monster that can easily destroy an entire village. Even a group of 10 adventurers would be no match for him. Aphrodite said that if that was the case, then okay, some other time, and when the day would come when they could not defeat the mighty demon. They heard someone shouting that it hurt and asking them to stop. The guys recognized that it was the voice of a girl and a gun store. Seal asked the man what he was doing to her something and told her to shut up. Let her shut her mouth and follow him, they will talk in their office. Suda pointed out that it's the girls who make the threats and everyone pretends not to notice. What has to happen for this world to be safe? Suda asked Aphrodite and Caroline to wait in the capsule because he was afraid it would be a hassle. The girls agreed and left it up to him. Suda asked the man if he was in some kind of trouble, wondering who else he was. The girl at the store recognized him. The man doesn't know who he is. We'll let him mind his own business and get the hell out of here. The guy urged to calm down. Rudeness is such a favor and he should be polite. Suda asked why he was so rude and please tell him what happened. The man said that the guy is clingy. He says it's not worth the hassle. He's just doing a job of embroidering debts. Here's the loan agreement. Seal's deceased father took out a loan of 3 million coal and is in hiding. The guy understands, but he finds it difficult to pay back such a large sum at once. The man stated that that's why he recommended that she sell the shop to pay off the debt as soon as possible. The girl said that there was no way, because she had gotten the store from her teacher and she could not give it away so easily. The man said that if she doesn't want to, she has no choice. So it was decided that she would become a slave and repay the debt with her body. Seal stated that she was ready to pay, but that she would just split the debt over several months. Men, for what she's pissed off, work from him too, demanding he give it all back. He will not go to her terms here. If he were to be lowered, one number of another organ slave would be more expensive, and the business of their office would go steeper than ever. The man was indignant where Mr. Bakarja was in such a difficult time. The guy realized that the whole racket was his fault. According to the guy's story, the men's slave store didn't make the profit they were going to make from selling Carolina. And it seems that because of that, Seal is in trouble now. And in other words, it all happened because he decided to intervene and save Caroline. Besides, he turned their boss into a turncoat, so he should take over. Suda wondered if he could pay off that debt. Seal was shocked. The man stated that he was not laughing because he was an adventurer with such bad equipment, and what could he even do? And it's true that the sum of 3 million coal won't be collected so easily, but he has only one way. Suda asked him to wait 3 days, and he would be sure to collect the 3 million coal. The man stated that it would not work that way. Why should they wait for something, and why should he believe him? Suda put something in his hand and stated that he thought it would convince him. It's a down payment. If he breaks his promise, he can keep it. The man scored that it's funny. Well, okay, so be it. He'll wait 3 days, really, he doesn't think it will make a difference. Suda asked the girl to leave it to him. He called Caroline and Aphrodite and told them it was time to move out, and they were going to the forest of Casella. Defeating the basilisk will bring them a lot of money. Seal told the guy he was crazy. By the way, basilisks, this monster is a very famous medium smith. It has very durable scales that are used as material for the high-end armor worn by royal knights. But this monster is difficult to deal with even a group of adventurers. He told us that if she thought so, she could wait in town. But the girl couldn't do that, because it's a problem for her and her teacher. Besides involving other people and making them suffer, she can't face her teacher. Suda asked why she was running the store alone. I mean, where am I now very much? The girl replied that even she didn't know, because her teacher was not only an amazing blacksmith, but also an adventurer. 2 years ago, the teacher had gone to the monsters and the connection with him had been cut off. Suda understood her and told her not to worry, because let her look at him. He was super strong and would not lose to some basilisk. Seal stated that, as if to tell her, her words would probably seem rude, but he didn't look like that. Aphrodite said that the girl is absolutely right that he can't be relied on at all. However, let her be calm because she is his ally, the goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite. Seal was amazed that it was Aphrodite, and Suda noted that the girl was showing off. Seal didn't believe it was an Olympian goddess even though she's a country girl, but you can't fool her like that. Guy pointed out that Aphrodite is really very famous. Aphrodite declared that if she does not believe that, she will prove that such, and maybe she is beautiful there under clothes. She hides underneath, but she has a gorgeous body. She is a size 3. She is 86, 53, 83. Seal didn't understand how she knew that. Aphrodite said that only gods have this ability, and that she has the eye of a god, with which she can see through her, even the color of her panties. Seal asked if only gods have the god's eye. Aphrodite, and today, she is wearing white panties. That she should wear sexier lingerie. Seal stated that she believed and so let the goddess not say another word in front of the boy. Sauda noted that didn't the goddess say that after her descent to Earth, she was enveloped by a curse and could no longer use her skills? Aphrodite stated that even though she said so, the orb capsule had a powerful healing effect that gradually lifted the curse. In fact, this skillet had only recently returned to her. However, besides Seal's size 3, she also saw these panties, so hers was an improved version of his piercing eye. The goddess declared that she was right, and the boy thought about wanting one. Aphrodite stated that if he wanted to use her skills, he should fall down now, kissing her feet and begging her. He should call him Mistress Aphrodite and beg her to share her power with him, and then she would think so. Suda declared that at the next opportunity. He's dying to get this skillet and is even willing to kiss her shoes. He's very curious to know what color panties the girls in town have. But if he does, the girls around him will look at him like shit. What a hard fucking skill, he'd be crazy with envy. Caroline turned to the host and announced that she was wearing black panties tonight. The guy thanked her. Aphrodite asked the boy if they would separate this time. Sauda replied that they would not, because who knows at what moment he will catch them. The basilisk is a very dangerous opponent since they are paying 3 million call for it, so they should be careful and stay together. Suddenly, a pack of 7 wolves are upon them. In a normal situation, he would have caught them in a pod. But this is a good opportunity. Sauda summoned his goblin knights and ordered them to show the full power of their equipment. He was amazed that this equipment was awesome, and they dealt with the wolves in the blink of an eye. The guy thanked the goblin for a great job. Then he noticed that there seemed to be one survivor. Caroline turned to the owner and asked him if he could keep the wolf for her. He didn't care, but he didn't understand why. Caroline answered that vampires need to drink the blood of animals and wolves from time to time, and the wolf's blood is a very nutritious food for them. Suda remarked that she should do as she pleased, and the girl thanked him for that. He looked at her and didn't understand why she didn't drink. Caroline replied that, to be honest, it was a bit embarrassing, and could she turn away for a while? The guy agreed. She said all her panties, but was too shy to show herself at the meal. Suddenly, Caroline called out to her master and told him to look up. There was a basilisk flying. Sauda was shocked at how high his stats were. Sauda ordered Aphrodite Carolina to return to the orb for now, since it was dangerous. Also summoned the goblin knights and ordered them to carry Seal to safety. Suda launched the orb directly at the basilisk, called the death throw of the orb. It doesn't matter how high his status is if the ball hits him. However, Basiliska batted the ball away with a stream of air. Aphrodite begged him not to do anything stupid, and Caroline urged the host to run away for once. The guy would like to do so, but he should only turn his back on him as he would immediately kill him. So what's he supposed to do now? I'm up to here, but Basilisk ran past and grabbed the dead wolf. He realized he'd just dragged the dead wolf away from the start, so they were brought in. Sauda, how's it going? He dragged away the girl's food. Caroline said it's okay, it's not a big deal as long as the owner is safe. Well, they have to beat him somehow, but the power differential is too great. Caroline apologized. She noted that something was wrong with her master's left arm as she could smell fresh blood. She offered to take care of it earlier. Sauda, she noticed that it must have happened when he was dodging his blow, and she was so quick to notice. Caroline said it's nothing special because you pirates are naturally good at smelling blood, so she can smell the blood of the wolf that Basilisk stole. Caroline remembers the smell clearly and wonders if she can recognize it at 200 meters. And that way they can think of their tactics so they can locate his lair. Sauda thanked you, Persia. He was so glad they had become comrades. He wished their goddess was as useful as Carolina. The goddess resented him for letting you do that because she's useful too. Just let him give her the tasks, and then she will. The guy said that she has one important fish kitten which he would like to entrust to her. It is not the same dangerous job, but for a girl. Aphrodite says he underestimates her. She's a goddess and there's no job she can't handle. She'll show him what she can do. He would clarify if she could really handle any job. After all, she had given her word just now. Suda asked Seal if she could do something for him. He noted that he had everything he needed for the operation, and he mentally urged Basilisk to take care. 2 hours passed, and they found the basilisk's nest, but it stinks. He's hanging corpses on a branch, and as far as the guy remembers, that's how they did it in medieval times. The guy suggested that they start preparing for the operation before the basilisk notices them, and all the girls supported him, and Aphrodite was tied to a tree and asked what it all meant. Sauda pointed out that didn't she say she could do whatever she wanted? Aphrodite stated that's right, but didn't say use her as bait. He's the devil incarnate, and except a real devil, no one would do that. Seal doesn't think he's using her rope that way. The boy urged her to listen to him. He himself was uncomfortable, but it was a difficult job that only she, the goddess of beauty, could do. Aphrodite reiterated that only she could do it. Suda confirmed this and would not call their operation the temptation of Basilisk. Is an ordinary girl able to seduce a monster? And of course not, but their Aphrodite can do it, because she is a great goddess of beauty. Aphrodite said that there was nothing left for her to do, and since the guy couldn't do anything without me, I would have to take matters into my own hands. The guy said that she really does help him out, but it's a blatant lie. To be honest, he doesn't think that this monster is able to distinguish a pretty girl from an ugly one, but now he just needs a bait. Aphrodite had lost her abilities after her descent to Earth, but she retained a large amount of survivability. And if so, she is unlikely to get hurt in case of any unlikely problems during the operation. And that's why he chose her for this role. The important thing is not to tell her. Carol noted that her master had dared such a bold and decisive act as expected from her powerful demon. Seal was shocked to tie a goddess to a tree and use her as bait. He really is the devil. But he does it without guilt just this time. He has no other choice. If their plan works, he'll buy whatever she wants. Suda turned to his boys and said that Basiliska is the most dangerous monster they've ever met. It would be dangerous, but could he count on them? He then thanked them and told them to get started. Sauda noted that the wind was blowing in the right direction, and first they would use a spore attack. Sauda urged the mad mushroom to lure the basilisk out of hiding, and it worked. Next, it was Aphrodite's turn to lure the basilisk. The girl called out to Basilisk, asking him to come here and get her. Well, when she saw him flying madly at her, she started screaming and begging Sauda to save her. Next, he called the Goblin Knights to attack him. This is still the only chance, and he ordered the mad mushroom to use the spores. However, the Syrian still has the strength to fight back, so he ordered the Goblin to attack next. If he managed to escape, then their operation would fail, and he hoped they would succeed. Basilisk's status changed to exhaustion, after which Suda gave the vampiress orders. The girl gave him a serious blow to the head, and he passed out. Suda happily announced that they had succeeded. The guys brought the proof to the guild. All the other UN campers were shocked that the Basilisk himself, this guy is kinda new, led that it's just awesome, and they were able to come to terms with Basilisk himself. Their 3 million call reward will be delivered tomorrow. Sauda understood and thanked her. Now he was able to resolve Seal's debt. It was a dangerous quest, but he was glad he had taken it on, and he had raised his level by defeating the Basilisk. Seal thanked the boy again. She didn't know what she would have done without him and how she could thank him. Soda said that he couldn't have done it without the help of Caroline and the monsters. Aphrodite took him by the collar and asked him if he was crazy and what about her. Sauda added that I am, of course, the beauty goddess Aphrodite. Chloe decided to add on Basiliski, that he told her that she regretted a friend on the branches of trees. Sauda said yes, there was such a thing because of that. It stank horribly. Chloe shared that this is usually done by two Solitskis who are preparing to have offspring, which means that that basilisk was a female. Aphrodite asked indignantly what it all meant, why she had tried to kill her then. Suda thought that maybe Aphrodite's beauty had nothing to do with it, and Basiliska just wanted to make her a food supply for her offspring. Wasn't that a bit much? The girl he claimed it meant that her charms worked even on her sex. Aphrodite was embarrassed that she meant the ability to seduce even women. The guy was glad that it was good that she was easily fooled. The next day, they received the 3 million call with peace of mind. Along with Seal went to Bakraji's firm, the eastern branch of his firm. Seal's sadness had dissipated, and now her freedom was nothing. But the man declared that this was not the way things were going here. Sauda didn't understand how it wasn't everything. The man stated that they were familiar with the word interest, but of course he admired them for such an amount of money in such a short period of time. But the amount of money could not stand still for long either. Sauda stated that if it was interest, how much more they had to pay. The man decided to calculate and said that about another 3 million call. If they bring this amount, they will close the topic of new slaves. This guy wasn't going to fulfill his promises from the beginning, and as they say, the rules don't change during the game. Sauda was outraged as to why the fuck he was making such demands. Seal said she would pay and pulled out a bag with another 3 million calls. She was going to give them to the guy, but at least she is free now after all. The girl apologized for delaying the payment. She beckoned for the Sautas to follow her, that they were on their way out. But the man told them to wait. A mistake had been made and he had miscalculated. In fact, the percentage was 5 million and time to fill out the form for the new merchandise dwarfed the courtesan. Suda wondered how long he would continue to be insolent. They had already paid twice as much. But this is not good. Probably before the loan was said that the contract cannot be cancelled and talk to him only a waste of time. Maybe pulled out a knife asked, and already they have their tongue up their ass. Let him live hurts for dough and the girl stays here. Sauda told the girl to go back behind his back. It's okay, he told her he wouldn't say he was very strong. The girl believes him, and the man asked if he wanted to dance. Suda said he had something good to teach him a lesson. Sauda let the werewolf out and ordered him forward, and then he kicked the man's ass. Sauda asked how he got a slap on the wrist from his boss, let him keep the money, and in return he would never show up in his life again. Suda asked the girl if she had sold the gun store. Seal confirmed it right after she returned the assignment. She had time to think about it. I mean, the 3 million she made from the sale of the store. But the guy didn't understand normally summer wasn't that store important to her after all it belonged to her master. Seal replied that yes, but it's okay. By selling the store, she can finally go in search of her master. She wouldn't be able to do it if she was constantly busy working in the shop, and finding a master was more important than that. Suda said that it was a good decision. He was sure that the master wouldn't want her to spend her life in that store. The girl would like to ask him for something, if he could take her with him. Sauda specified that she wanted to go traveling with him. The only thing she can do on the trip is make repairs to things, but she could be a personal blacksmith for his company. She's sure she'll be useful to him, and that way she can repay him for his help. Sauda noted that this is a very good offer, but the purpose of their journey is to defeat a powerful demon. But does the girl realize how dangerous that is? Seal replied that she didn't care how many difficulties and dangers they encountered on their way, as if they were a mighty demon themselves. The most important thing for her was to find her master. Suda realized that meant she was ready for anything, and in that case he asked her to turn away for a second. The guy took out a capsule and used it, and then the girl moved into it. Inside, she saw Aphrodite and Caroline. She didn't realize what this place was and what the guy had done. Suda asked the girl if she could hear him. She didn't realize that his voice was in her head. He informed her that she was now in his ball capsule and would have to stay in it during their journey. But if she wanted to get out of it, she could tell him, and he would let her out. If she wanted to tell him something, she could use telepathy and just concentrate on it, and he would hear her voice in his head. She didn't understand why he put her inside the capsule, to which the guy replied that it was because it was more comfortable. Traveling involved a lot of risk and his capsule could protect her. Also, if she has to eat on foot, she can take a break inside and also inside the capsule. She can heal her wounds or sickness and also remove her hunger. Seal agreed that it did make sense, and now she understood everything. The girls noted how beautifully he had veiled everything. Sauda noted that thanks to this agreement, he had a pretty blacksmith girl in Gorem, and that was excellent. Aphrodite pushed the guy out of bed and asked if her breakfast was ready. Caroline said that she was so happy because the master had finally shown his true colors. Seal asked him just not there. He's a hungry animal. The guy didn't understand why these all here and what they were dreaming about. Why are they all here? There is nothing better than sleeping with these sneakers, but it is impossible to sleep with them. Soda stated that they were getting up hard, but before he went traveling, he wanted to tell them something. Aphrodite didn't understand what was so official. They used to always sleep in the capsule, but lately they have been sleeping outside, and he wants them to explain why they do that. Aphrodite stated that inside the capsule is definitely very comfortable, but it is very annoying to be confined to the capsule. Sauda understood Aphrodite and asked Caroline. The girl replied that her task was to keep an eye on Aphrodite so that she did not get a whiff of mushrooms and pounce on her master. Aphrodite asked if it was a case of her pouncing on a guy. Sauda inquired of the blacksmith girl. Seal replied that if she had been allowed to take the blacksmith's tools into the capsule, she would not have gotten out of there. But it was lonely there without the girls. Everyone has their reasons, but it starts with Aphrodite being the first to get out of the capsule, and if they think about it, the solution is to furnish the capsule from the inside. Aphrodite wants a soft, fluffy bed like what she had in heaven, and she would be infinitely happy. Caroline's heart is formed by anything from the host, but most of all, she would love to have books. If she had a mini library with different buildings, they think she could handle not having roommates. Seal knows exactly what she wants. She wants materials to create new weapons, and when she works with high-quality raw materials, she loses track of time. And the questions they have, even with money, it's not easy, and really, he doesn't know how much it would cost. It seems that the mighty demon has not yet risen, and it will not do so quickly. So for now, we can take care of the wishes of the ladies. We'll take up but the quest after all, life enters the shores. Chloe congratulated them for completing the quest. His adventurer rank was raised to rank F. He asked what it turns out that this is very good. Chloe confirmed that it takes an average novice adventurer a year to rise to his rank. His rate of progression is amazing, and apparently his recent victories against the Basilisk have had an impact on his rapid growth. Due to his rise in rank, more quests are now available to him and he can take a look at them. 10 minutes later, Sauda was holding 5 quests in his hands. Quests to collect iron ore, copper ore, silver ore, gold ore, and platinum ore. He realized that it smells like easy money and it's just fucking quests. Reward for iron ore is not particularly large, but pay to give out fabulous money, as much as 600 coals per gram. However, paid ore is not easy to find if they get it. They just get rich. Even if you don't make it with him, Seal's skills could come in handy this time. Suda handed Chloe the leaflets and said that he was ready to take on these quests. The girl noted that they are quests for mining ore in the mines Ares, whether he has a pickaxe and lantern. Since both of these items are necessary for the quest, she suggests that he purchase them now. The pickaxe would cost him 5,000 call and the lantern 2,000 call. The guy realized that it would cost 28,000 call for 4 people. Even though these expenses were necessary, he decided that he would get more ore and be on the plus side. 2 hours later, the boys reached the mines. Aphrodite saw the mine for the first time, and it looked a bit like cheese with holes in it. Ares Mine, many miners used to come here from the city to work. But there are frequent earthquakes here, and also the tops are monsters and similar, so the spoils are gladly laid on the adventurers. Sauda that Carolina knows so much. The girl thanked him, but for questions about working in the mine, he had better ask Seal for help. Suda asked the girl if this place was different from her shop. Well, he saw her face and asked her if it was something. Seal noted that she hadn't been in the mine in so long she was so happy. The guys didn't understand why she was so excited about it. Suda asked the girl if it was true that her race liked rocks and earth. As far as he knew, games often made cliches like that, so it was better to clarify. Seal confirmed this. The dwarves come from a tribe known as the Spirits of the Earth, and so ore brings him great pleasure. If they find good quality ore, it doesn't even know if it can control itself. He hoped that wouldn't happen, and yet it gave him a little motivation. Sauda stated something great, and it's time to get started. They need to go farm money and they will be rich. Aphrodite asked to rely on her. Sauda noted that it was dark and they could use those flashlights, which they could put in the capsule. Caroline asked the host to provide it for her. Suda was amazed and asked what it was. Caroline answered that it was a glowing ball of light that illuminated the way in the dark for a short distance. With the help of magic, it could be kept working for about 8 hours. If he had known about it before, he would not have bought those lanterns. He would have gotten a glowing ball like that. Sauda thanked the girl for him, and she thanked him in return for his praise. Aphrodite called the boy over to her. He asked her not to make any noise, so she started collecting ore. The goddess confirmed this and stated that she had already found something. She had found an ordinary stone without any features. Sauda informed the girl that they were just stones. The goddess told him to see how shiny they were. He had her check them with her divine eye, and now her skillet would be more useful than ever. She may be too mana-intensive to use it, so she won't use it unnecessarily. Thankfully, he has a divine eye too, but it's a little worse, and Aphrodite wouldn't have been any use anyway. Suddenly, he came across some iron ore and turned to Seal and asked if he could sell it. The girl apologized, but she was afraid it wouldn't work. Apparently, it was thrown away by other adventurers, which means that they couldn't make money on it, or they would have kept it for themselves. Because of this, we can conclude that all the valuable ore gave other adventurers before them. From such thoughts, immediately want to abandon everything and go home. Seal took the pickaxe and said, "Well, what's the problem? They will mine the ore themselves." The girl mined copper and iron ore. Sauda stated that it was amazing how she knew where it was. Seal replied that her race loves labor and she can tell by smell where her deposits are. Suda realized that this was her special skill and she was not going to make a lot of money with it. The guy turned to the girl and stated that this was their chance, if she could show them where else was in the ore hall. Seal said sure, but the guy scares her. He's too close. Sauda apologized and realized he was blinded by his lust for money. If Seal hates him, she won't help him. Aphrodite asked Caroline if they were thinking the same thing now, to which the vampire replied that they might be. The girls declared that they too would give a lot of ore. Aphrodite could not lose to Seal, and Caroline urged Seal not to take over her master. Suda noted that the two were full of enthusiasm. Seal noted that she could smell ore behind that wall, then they should start digging. Aphrodite asked him to wait, and could he trust her to do so. She's seen Seal wielding a pickaxe and thinks she can handle it too. She can't be serious about this sudden offer. Of course, Aphrodite was once nicknamed the Miner. While the other gods were fighting the boss, she was collecting very rare gems. Is she talking about the game though, whatever? She stated that now he was seeing what she was capable of. The goddess used a divine attack and began to use the pickaxe. Sauda noted that her chest was shaking in a truly divine way. Seal warned Aphrodite that if she hit that hard, she could damage the ore. That would be very bad, and she offered to show her how to do it. As expected of Seal. Aphrodite didn't understand what she should do. Meanwhile, Caroline was launching attacks with her powers. Seal resentful, I asked what she was doing. Caroline replied that digging for tools wasn't very efficient, and wouldn't it be easier to mine ore with her magic? Seal stated not to do so, and otherwise she might destroy the ore. She ordered them both alive to sit in the corner and stay out of the way. Girls, listen up. 3 hours passed and Seal produced iron ore and copper ore. Suda noted that they had collected quite a bit. Seal asked if she could take some ore for herself. The guy agreed, but asked why she needed it. The girl replied that she wanted to make new weapons for the goblins, and with the amount of loot they had gotten today, she could make a lot of them herself. Sauda stated that it would be great. He didn't spare any money to strengthen his goblins, and thanks to Seal's skills, they would soon be doing well. He also asked the girls if they had seen Aphrodite. Caroline stated that Aphrodite decided to look for ore on her own, and she said she wanted to help too. That's good. But he got some kind of bad feeling, and then the guys heard her screaming to be let go. No one understood what happened there, and the guys were almost there. Aphrodite was grabbed by a crazy puppet. He had seen this somewhere before. Aphrodite asked Sauda for help. These monsters, these crazy puppets are great guys. Caroline turned to the host. He immediately took the capsule and turned to the puppets and ordered them to let his team member go. He caught one, but the other one let go of the girl out of fear and she fell to the ground. Caroline declared that there was no escaping her, whereupon she used my ice. She called for the master to show these gnarled creatures. The lad noted that the girl was as excellent as ever. He thanked her and pointed down his pods. 3 puppets in his capsule. A few hours had passed and the guys had done a great job, and they had caught 2 more puppets. Not a bad catch. Aphrodite stated that she was all her legs wouldn't hold up. Seal stated that neither would she. He suggested they go rest in the capsule and he'll tell them how they get to the inn. He doesn't feel anything. Minecraft isn't toys. What it is spacious and not a soul in sight. Before returning, he decided to play around with monster crossbreeding. So he has 5 crazy puppets and tries a combination of puppet and marionette. This made an evil detritus and a seemingly harmless minion. He also saw a strange wording. Crossbreeding with each other can make a very powerful monster. Then evil rubble and evil rubble will give a golem. He has a great physical strength of 185 and it's his strongest Pokemon. But it's still in use. So it's not the last form of transformation. The evolution of the stone is unfinished. From tomorrow, he opens the income on the crazy puppets. Their main reward was 36,000 call. If in yen, it's just under 40,000, and divided by 4, it's just under 10,000 yen per person. Not bad, but is it worth the risk they run? Still, it's not very profitable, and the price for iron copper ore is small. Next time, they will take only silver and gold at once. Even gold will satisfy Chloe's request one way or another. Aphrodite asked the boy if he was all right. Why did he suddenly decide to buy a new bed? And he bought her new clothes, a dancer's outfit. He reminded her of the incident with Basilisk. He had promised to buy her something new for her hard work. She asked him to evaluate her outfit, and he said it was okay, but she didn't understand it. He didn't understand why she was angry. She was as pretty and cute as ever, so all the outfits suited her. Aphrodite didn't know he was like that. Sauda lives what he thinks, of course, and in fact he plans to go to the Ares mines again today. So he suggested she finish her shopping as soon as possible. He grabbed Aphrodite's hand and stated that now was the time. They were welcomed to the guild's magic tool store for what they wanted to purchase. Suda called out that he was looking for a bed as big and soft as possible. The salesman understood them, asked them to follow him to the correct department. The boys didn't understand why they were being stared at. The salesman announced that they have all the beds here, but he would like to recommend them a bed using one of the rarest materials, angel cotton. Sauda realized that they are a guy and a girl came to buy a bed together. Now everyone thinks they are dating and all that they are married. The salesman recommended them to buy a certain bed. It is made of very good materials, including English cotton. While sleeping on this bed, he will feel like he is in paradise. The bed is luxurious, but it costs 1.2 million coal. Too much, Aphrodite stated so the seller doesn't try to scam them. He wondered if they didn't like the bed. Aphrodite realizes it looks like she's going to have to call in the explanatory team. She's talking about the angel cotton in this bed, and from what she can see, it's only 30% angel cotton. The other 70% is Ashira down. She wouldn't say it's a bad material, but they claim the bed is made of angel cotton. It smells like a scam. And speaking of the pillows, they are made of nothing at all. She asked if this store listed inappropriate materials everywhere and how they could find what they needed. Sauda was shocked. Who would have thought Aphrodite would know anything about anything? She's finally being a little helpful. She obviously doesn't like the salesman trying to screw them over. They need to get this sorted out quickly, and he can't afford a 1.2 million call bed. The salesman told them to wait. They have another bed that he can vouch for the quality of. This is the best bed in their store. It's perfect for a married couple. Sauda noted that the seller had indeed mistaken them for a couple, but alas, they were not. Aphrodite asked the salesman to show it to them anyway, and he thanked the girl. This bed is made using the spores of a crazy mushroom. Thanks to them, this bed will bring them new sexual experiences every night. It only costs 1.5 million call. They can also give them an interest-free installment on it. Aphrodite remarked that it was potoyasational, but Suda said no way. The salesman apologized, but he wasn't talking to him. He was talking to this beautiful girl. Aphrodite stated to the couple to stay out of it. She is having a business conversation with this man. He didn't understand why she was even interested in detailed things. If he didn't intervene, it would make his life a living hell. There was nothing he could do and would have to use submission, whereupon Suda ordered the goddess to approach him. The vendor didn't understand what was going on and started to get nervous. Suda said that this bed was not good for them. They were fine with it, so he would keep it. The salesman apologized for his rudeness. They would be happy to see them again. It didn't go well, and they'll have to sleep on the old bed for a while longer. Aphrodite's boyfriend. She hoped she wasn't offended by what he just did. He decided that he would need to get her something, but the girl was thinking about how cuddling with a guy is so nice. Aphrodite was singing a song dedicated to her. The guys didn't understand what was wrong with her. He thinks she will be upset that they couldn't buy a new bed, and she didn't come in a good mood. Caroline asked Aphrodite what that weird song was that was distracting her. Aphrodite inquired of Caroline, "Are you afraid she's going to leave? She has Sauda?" It was too direct. Karina replied that if that's what she meant, then she doesn't know yet where forever was Verna, a mighty demon and unrequitedly white for over 300 years. Sauda too wants a partner like that who will love him through life and how jealous he is. And Aphrodite stated that she will reveal and a little truth, and she has it written all over her face that she is a loser in love affairs. The atmosphere is heating up and we need to change the subject. Suda turned to Seal and said he wanted to ask her something. Today he wants to mine gold or platinum ore. Does she know how to find it? Seal stated that it would be very difficult because other adventurers are also trying to get ore for each other. So the deposits here may already be exhausted, but if they offer more effort and go down the mine, they may find something. But the deeper they go, the greater the risk. Sauda understood her well. Of course he wants to mine the expensive ore, but he doesn't want to take any risks. Caroline asked him not to worry about it yesterday. She asked the bats to explore the mine. Now I do not know in all the dangers here, and so if the master of that wants to go down to the jamming carcasses, we'll be able to lead them. Sauda noted that Carolina was just peachy. Guard, you didn't realize what you needed to get away from her. The guy asked Caroline what she was doing with those bats. The girl replied that she didn't, and she doesn't know why they decided to attack Aphrodite. It seems the deeper one doesn't go down, the more often they encounter crazy puppets, and he had a good feeling about it. They reached a place where it was very simple. Seal stated that she could smell precious metals behind this wall, and it was different from any that had come before. Sauda noted that they could really get a lot of money now, and Freddie asked to grant it to her and used divine attack, but then her hand got hurt. Not even a scratch was left on the wall, and it's some very tough rock. The queen fears that pickaxes won't do the trick. Sauda realized that's why others seeking adventure didn't touch this ore birthplace. He asked to provide it to the golem. He got it yesterday as a result of crossbreeding and crazy coins. I won't put all the hard work on him. Sauda ordered the golem to destroy the wall. Suddenly there would be a secret passage there. They walked up the stairs, which are very long. Seal stated that the smell of ore is getting stronger, and she is sure they will find it soon. Looks like this staircase was made a long time ago. So where are we going? They saw barrels of silver, gold, and platinum ore. The guys were shocked. This ore tastes amazing, and it is real platinum ore. Suda couldn't believe it. So much ore in one place. Two of them of no high quality. Seal thinks that all this ore can be sold for about 400 million coal. Saudabol is shocked, and he can't believe it. And soon they will be rich. Suddenly, Aphrodite screams, and the guy asks her what's up. They see a human skeleton. It seems to Caroline that the miner's place was used as an ore storehouse or treasure house. Suda asked how he knew, to which the girl replied that she was just guessing. She had noticed the age of the skeleton and could say with certainty that it had been lying here for about 100 years. This adventurer's mine is a relatively recent discovery and used to be state property. Therefore, all the ore in the mine was sent to the state treasury, and it suggests that this miner could hide some of the ore here to resell it later. This is logical, and it turns out that this man was the only one who knew the existence of this place. He hid part of the mined ore here and most likely died because of an accident, after which he entered the place with stones and no one ever knew about this place. However, he managed to hide a lot of truth. It is already useless. Suddenly, the stones under Aphrodite began to move. In front of them appeared an iron golem. Suda didn't understand why he attacked them. Carolina thinks they woke him up, and it looks like he used this treasure house to rest. But they can't leave you empty-handed. They'll have to fight him. Sauda threw a capsule at him to send him there. But the golem didn't end up in the capsule even though the guy hit it, and he realized that he couldn't catch it because of the dirt covering his body, because the capsule couldn't touch his body that way. It looked like the dirt had been deposited on him over the years, and it was unlikely that they would be able to dislodge it even with a ball. The iron golem tried to attack the guy, but he was able to dodge. Aphrodite told him to step back and leave it to her. The boy asked her if she was in her right place, because it was too dangerous. Aphrodite reminded him that when she was on Earth, she had lost all her magical skills, but her health and other stats were the same. So if you think about it, a baby golem can't do me any harm. Aphrodite ordered him to get out of here quickly. Well, Golem struck her a blow. However, to defeat the goddess of love and beauty, such a blow would not be enough. Caroline entered the battle and asked the golem how he dared to attack her master. She began to use her magic and the golem began to fall off the dirt. Caroline signaled to her master to act now. Then the guy launched the capsule and thought about what should work now. And so it turned out this time the girls managed even without his help. They managed to avoid any losses, and now they have an iron golem. Chloe said that she was sorry, but she couldn't pay for the ore he had brought. But the guy didn't understand why, if it wasn't of the right quality or something like that. The girl asked that there is no case of that. It is just too expensive, and she is not sure that she has enough money to buy it from him. Especially the platinum ore, if she puts it all on the market at once, it could lead to bautzen, and in any case it should be done gradually. You need to prepare. And really, why understand the hype? Because according to Seal, all this ore can be sold for about 400 million call. He hoped that she was able to explain to him the reason, and if he could wait a little longer, the evaluation would be done within a week. The guy understood and thanked her. It was a shame he couldn't get the money right away, but he would wait a little longer. The girls asked if he was finished. Aphrodite was upset that they had to wait a week. Maybe they would take the ore to another place. Sauda replied that they just brought too much ore at a time, and he thought about other stores, however, in the guild, and at least not cheat with money and so more reliable. He turned to Seal and said that he had transferred all your ore to the guild. Seal stated that this labor was not suitable for making weapons and armor. The quality would not be the same. Seal noticed the guy going the other way and reminded him that the inn was here. Sauda for having another little face, and Viska doesn't get off them for a while. Somehow they didn't get far because of the town. Seal didn't understand what they were doing here, to which the guy replied that he wanted to crossbreed a couple of monsters. Seal was amazed that such a thing was even possible. Caroline realized that it was better to cross golems outside the city. Today they managed to collect a lot of monsters. Or the beginning they would turn the crazy puppets into golems, and then crossbreed this golem with another golem. When crossing two golems, you get an iron golem, and I wonder what you get when you cross two iron golems. Southia was also curious, and when you cross two iron golems, you can get a very strong monster. You get an adamantine golem. Seal noted that it was so shiny and wondered what the monster was called. Sauda replied that this monster was called an adamantine golem, which seemed to be the last stage in the evolution of golems. Seal was amazed because that means its entire body is made of adamantine ore. Sauda stated that it is most likely on, however, what is the big deal? It turns out her people have always dreamed of this ore, and if he allows it, she can make weapons out of it. So she could make a good weapon out of adamantine ore, and the girl confirmed it. Sauda asked the girl if it would be possible to take some ore off the golem's body. Carolina thinks that it won't be a problem because the golem has high regeneration. Even if they take a little ore from it, its body will recover soon. Then he leaves the adamantium golem to Seal. She can create weapons as much as she wants, within reason, of course. The girl hugged the guy and thanked him. She was so happy to have met him. The guy Ood stated that she was exaggerating, but he wanted to grab her ass. Thus, unexpectedly, he managed to get the materials Seal needed. The girl hugged the golem and said she was pleased to meet him. Caroline asked if her master was sure she didn't have to buy anything. Suda was sure, and he remembered that she had asked him for some interesting book, so he hoped she would find a book she would like. She hadn't worn that maid outfit in a long time. Carolina pointed out that they weren't going to go monster hunting today, so that's weird. Suda thinks the costume suits her very well. He likes her maid outfit. Caroline apologized, but the compliments from her master had turned her head a little. Caroline often says things like that, and he wonders if she means it. He realizes that he's awake and all that, and sometimes she goes overboard with the gratitude. He asked her if she sometimes seemed to take his words too seriously. For example, if he tells her to show him her panties and there is a chance that she will show them to him. Caroline said that, of course, if the master wants it, she will do anything he asks. The guy did not understand what she was doing, to which the girl apologized for not liking it. Suda replied that he liked it, but it was wrong and she shouldn't do it anymore. Of course, he was glad she showed him her panties, but she's been in love with a powerful demon for 300 years. He can't help but feel that she's just doing it out of gratitude for saving him. Karina asked the owner what he was thinking. Vate, she didn't understand him. The guys came and they were welcomed at the official guild store. Sauda saw the same guy selling furniture. He apologized and clarified that they hadn't met him before. I thought he worked at a furniture store. The salesman said he must have talked to his brother and he works at the furniture store. Turns out they're twins. Honestly, he would not recommend trusting him. He is sometimes dishonest with his customers. Suda asked if they had any rare spellbooks. The seller asked if they were interested in spellbooks. He was sorry, but they were very expensive, and he was afraid that they wouldn't have enough money, so he didn't see the point in showing them. Suddenly, Caroline pulled out a knife and ordered the seller to watch his tongue, who he thought they were. The guy asked her to calm down what she was doing. Carolina apologized, he was just being too rude to the host, and all she wanted to do was cut off his tongue. Suda told her to let him go. The vendor told her to get out of here so he wouldn't see them again. Sauda grabbed the girl and stated that they were sorry. It can't be helped, and they have to go to another store. It was the second largest bookstore in the city, and it was very small. Caroline replied that it was not a big deal because it was not the quantity of books, but their quality that mattered, and she hoped that the salespeople would be more polite here. They would hope so, and let her give a sign there as she found a book she liked. Caroline thanked him, but as it turned out, the books were written by people not very interesting. Their style hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. It's a waste of time. Sauda hears what Caroline is thinking, and although it usually takes a good amount of concentration, apparently the password is a password strong thoughts break through on their own. She is very upset that she didn't find a good book. The guy suggests that she should leave and leave the place. Caroline said that this is not true, but the guy asked her not to deny it because the fights are obvious to her. The girl stated that she just didn't want to give him a hard time whether or not. To tell the truth, her time belongs to long-lived people, and so people's books are not very interesting compared to theirs. He understood the girl, then he suggested her to go to another city and look for the book there. Caroline was shocked if it was all for her whim. Suda said that she had already helped him out many times with other girls in trouble, so she would let us repay him for it. Suddenly, Carolina started to fall, but the guy caught her and asked what was wrong. Caroline answered that she was a little overexcited and that his words were enough to make her happy. The guild still hadn't graded the ore, and it looked like he would have to find a robot. He noticed that the bulletin board was very crowded. There was another ridiculous quest there. One stated to another to score, "Kill a ghost?" Yeah, how did they even come up with that? There was an emergency quest to pacify the ghost on the board. It was a 10 million call, but Vasilisk was given only 3 million call for pacifying Vasilisk. Sauda approached Chloe about the ghost pacification quest. Could she tell him more about it? Recently, a ghost appeared in the cemetery, which people have already managed to nickname a demon, and apparently he is very dangerous. It is said that this ghost can summon and control the undead. As soon as they received a message about this ghost, they immediately announced a reward for him. Sauda thanked her for the information. He decided that he would not take this quest for any money. Aphrodite asked Sauda why he didn't take the quest, since they pay a lot of money for it. As he said, the risk is too great and it's not worth it. They'll make a lot of money after the ore they've mined is valued. You have to be careful what you do. Aphrodite noted that he was probably right. He suggested moonlighting on something simpler. Caroline told her master that if he didn't want to do the quest, she could do it. Suda clarified if she was joking. Since the demons had once lost a war with humanity, they had to make rules so they wouldn't bother humans anymore. However, it seems this ghost has decided to break them, so she wants to confront him and stop him. That's right, since there are rules between demons and humans. Caroline bails them out of trouble all the time, so now it's his turn to help her. Suda stated that he's fine with it, but on one condition, he'll go ghost hunting with her. He can't let her go to such a dangerous place alone. Caroline thanked her, for he made her heart beat faster. She was at it again. He would have to be more careful with his words. Seal asked the boy why they were going to the cemetery at night. He thinks all ghosts only become active at night. She doesn't need to worry. But if she's afraid, she can go back to the inn. Seal stated no way. She would go crazy while she was worried about them. Aphrodite laughed that Seal was afraid of ghosts. Seal asked Aphrodite if she wasn't afraid, and she confirmed it. After all, she was a goddess, and if a ghost appeared before her, she would destroy it with sacred magic. Seal replied that this was as expected of a great goddess. Aphrodite urged them to leave the ghost to her, and Seal could have no fear, for she would protect her. Seal thanked her. She was relieved. Well, at least Seal cheered up a bit. Apparently, she hadn't noticed that Aphrodite said that every time, and pumped it all up. 30 minutes later, though, what did Suda expect? Aphrodite asked Seal to walk a little slower. The girl asked the goddess why she was doing this, why she was hiding behind her back. Aphrodite stated that simply signs could attack her from behind. That's why she is protecting her. Aphrodite asked Suda not to go far away from them, or something would happen. The guy stated that he wasn't going anywhere, and in general, if she was so scared, she would stay at the hotel. Aphrodite didn't understand what he was even saying. She was just worried about him, and she wouldn't go to the inn. She wasn't scared in the slightest, and Seal is scared to go there alone. Looks like there's a reason they don't want to go back. Caroline asked the host to be careful. There's something in the leaf. The ghost of Hitodama appeared. Seal began to ask Aphrodite to come to her senses. We should have left them at the inn after all. Caroline alerted the host that he was attacking. Suda summoned an adamantium golem and ordered it to protect them. As the boy realizes, that's all Hitodama can do, somehow weakly. Caroline seems to think it's one of the ghost's minions, and apparently it's been ordered to attack anyone who gets near its master. If so, it means that he is faithfully carrying out his orders despite the superior power of the enemy. A monster like this can be useful and should be captured in a capsule. Although the monster protects its master, and it's possible that someone in this world has the same ability as Suda. It turns out that he steals a monster from someone else, and this kind of thing is punished in games. Suda decided that it was not, and now this monster will be his. Apparently in this world, it's okay to take monsters from others. If he could subjugate someone else's monster, then others could do the same, which meant that his absolute dominance skill was just a fraud. Caroline said that her master was incomparable. This is the fourth Chitodama, but where is the ghost himself? He and Koroi split up to speed up the search, but no luck so far. He heard giggling and someone inquired if he was the guy who was capturing her subordinates. She asked him to look up. She's up there. That is the ghost. That is the girl. She's got a high profile, and he's hoping his evaluation of her doesn't let him down. But seriously, she's his first dangerous opponent. It's clear why the bounty is so high, but it doesn't matter if he hits it with the capsule before the battle starts. Sauda throws a capsule at her and the ghost doesn't even move. However, the capsule flew through, and whether or not this could even be possible. Maybe the capsule can't catch creatures without physical bodies. In that case, he couldn't catch it, and they don't have a monster that can do damage to a ghost. In other words, they have a fucking problem. The ghost wondered if that was what he called an attack. Now she was going to be attacked. If you look at her, she's pretty cute, but he's only thinking about her, and he needs to stall for time. Sauda asked her to please wait. Maybe they could sit down at the negotiating table and discuss everything. The ghost called him a foolish adventurer. People like her had long ago gotten rid of unnecessary things like emotions. Therefore, it is useless to beg her for mercy. She bids him farewell and wishes him a quick trip to hell. Woe it, the end of his adventures. And though he has nothing to regret since he will be killed by such a cutie. Suddenly, someone pushed him away, and it was Caroline in vampire form. The girl showed her true strength, her stats now far above what they had been before. During the battle with the Iron Golem, her appearance had also changed. So when Carly starts fighting at full strength, she changes her form. Well, in that case, he could trust her completely now. Caroline checked with Yuko's ghost to see if she realized who she'd raised her hand to. Carly's clothes had turned to rags, but she didn't care. Yuko was scared, and Suda didn't realize what was wrong with her face. Prerak turned to the older maid and asked what she was doing here. Apparently, Carlina is familiar with this ghost. The ghost seemed to be saying H has long since gotten rid of her emotions, and she was scared to death. Carolina stated that Yuko had gotten all cocky, and she didn't think she would live to see the day she decided to show her teeth. Yuko replied that it wasn't like that and she wouldn't have raised a hand to her in her life. Caroline ordered her to get down to the ground quickly, and she began to apologize. Suda noted that the girl was being obeyed by Caroline. The vampiress stated that Yuko didn't need to apologize to her, but to her master Sauda. Yuko didn't understand why Caroline would submit to a human, because it was shameful for demons to serve these lowlifes. The only one to whom concubines can be loyal is Urbis. Caroline told the girl that if she insulted her master again, she would kill her. Yuko turned to the adventurer. She didn't know he was traveling with Caroline, and may he please forgive her inappropriate behavior. She really was sorry. Suda pointed out that she shouldn't be. Carolina apologized to her host for the misunderstanding. Looks like he got in trouble with his former coworker from his last job. Suda pretended to understand, but in fact he didn't understand a damn thing, and now he had even more questions. Carolina had warned her master that Yuko had quite a bad temper, and could he leave the girl to Carolina? She would try to explain to her that you can't attack humans. Sauda understood the vampiress and asked her not to be too strict. Carolina thanked him. He originally wanted to subdue the ghost, but since it's an acquaintance of Caroline's, he can't do that. Oh, and if Carly keeps an eye on her, there won't be any problems. Caroline turned to Yuko and stated that Suda had decided to forgive her this time, but only on the condition that she never hurt people again. However, her master has forgiven her, but she hasn't. She had ruined the clothes her master had given her, and she would be punished for it. Caroline asked Yuko if she was ready. For something she asked, "Please don't do it." For that, she would get her noxious ass kicked 100 times if they tried to lash out or interfere with her, then she would add that much more. Sauda think a ghost can't be physically harmed, and how does that even work? Well, what Carlin was going on with that girl caused him to question what Carly's character really was. Caroline noted that there were 90 more to go, and Yuko kept asking for forgiveness. Aphrodite noted that maybe she wasn't letting go of that ghost after all. Suda noted that the Guild Award, and I'm definitely not going to see it now, but he's glad it's over. Seal asked Caroline what they had in common with that ghost. The boy mentally praised her, because he wanted to know about it too. Carolina answered that she was his colleague from his last job. They were maids, and usually did the cleaning, cooking, and so on. Aphrodite noted that just when they said in the graveyard that she was a demon, she thought she would be hard to deal with. And in the end, she didn't give them any trouble, and wondered if all lower demons were so weak. Even despite her status, her stats were very high, so Yuko couldn't call her weak. And judging by the strength of Carly and Yuko, the other subordinates of the mighty demon were not worse, and it was scary to imagine what they could do. And Aphrodite wondered why they were here again. Hadn't they been here recently when they were crossbreeding monsters? Suda shared that he had caught a few more monsters today, so the best ones to cross before they returned to the hotel. Aphrodite wondered if he was talking about those fire ghosts, if they also lived in the capsule, and how she would live there. Aphrodite wondered if he was talking about the fire ghosts that lived in the capsule and how she was going to live there. He decided it was worth a try, and a very cute monster appeared in front of them. It was the kind of cute monster that you get when you crossbreed a Chitodama with a wolf. Caroline noted that Kitsunebi are very useful monsters, and they can use 2 kinds of magic at once, which is very rare for the lower races. Demons also often use them as pets. Sauda noted that this means they are cute and useful. Seal took him in her arms and noted that he was so cute, she wanted to take care of him, and in his company she could stay in the capsule all day and night. Sauda remarked that if that was the case, then fine. Well, the girl thanked him. He saw Aphrodite and asked what was wrong. Aphrodite said that she didn't like him. She was the sweetest and most beautiful in the world. Suda clarified that they were really jealous of the animal. They still had 3 wolves and 3 Hitodama left. He would make 3 more Kitsunebi. Suddenly, there was a system message that a rare crossbreeding had occurred. Ketamaro appeared in front of them, and no one realized what it was, how huge and shaggy it was. What kind of monster was this? He had fulfilled all the conditions for a Kitsunebi. But it was a different monster. It's rarely crossbreeding. Maybe all of this happened because of him at such a low chance. It was the first time Carolina had seen such a monster, so the guy wondered if even she didn't know what it was. The vampiress replied that in 300 years she had never seen such a monster, and it was probably because it was a very rare species living in remote places. So Sauda was lucky to get such a rare monster. But is it worth using it? It doesn't have any magical skills like a Kitsunebi, and the amount of health, while high, is certainly not as high as an adamantium golem. Aphrodite touched it and said that it was amazing. It had very nice fur like a cute animal. Aphrodite asked the guy to order the 2 monster and lay down on the ground. Suda didn't understand what Aphrodite was up to, so he ordered the beast to lie down on the ground, and the goddess fell on him. She said he was just what she wanted. He was perfect. Aphrodite asked the boy for permission to take care of Katamaro. She could sleep on him for eternity. The boy clarified that it meant he had fulfilled her wish. She wanted a big, soft bed. Aphrodite confirmed that, The fur and softness of this monster was as good as a bed in heaven. Suda replied that Nura liked him so she could have him. The goddess hugged the boy, thanking him. He is very lucky, because now he has completely satisfied Aphrodite's request. Aphrodite didn't even ask to leave the capsule, and apparently she liked that monster very much, and now he could take the bed alone. Although this way he wouldn't be able to look at half-naked hotties in the morning, but okay, there were too many for one bed, so it was worth it. Before going to bed, he decided to check his stats. He noticed that there was a new skill, psychological manipulation. So he had gotten this skill through a rare crossbreeding, but the principle of how it worked was still unclear. What if his body remains unprotected while he uses the skill and it would be dangerous to use it in combat? And now he's at the inn and it's safe, so he can't help but use this skill. He was offered to choose a monster and noted that he could even choose Aphrodite. He would then be able to rub her huge tits as much as he wanted. But no, he would never do that, he promised. But he immediately said to hell with it, and he picks Aphrodite. It's not his fault she was first on the list. He was informed that his skill level was too low for us to manipulate this monster. Suda decides he has to choose someone else. What if you pick a crazy mushroom and spore her back to flow? It'd be kind of gross, and he decided it would be worth it. He decided to test out how his new skill would work. Then he summoned a crazy mushroom, and it does work. He found himself inside the capsule, and the only thing that seems so big is that he was in the body of a crazy mushroom. It means that the skill is working, and now inside the capsule, if they're so stupidly attracted to girls. He wondered what they were doing in the capsule, but he couldn't see them from the outside. He found them and saw that Aphrodite was asleep as usual. It was a gorgeous view, though he wondered why the local monsters hadn't harmed the girls, and that's why she was so relaxed. He pointed out that this was a great chance to get him in Aphrodite's beautiful shape. It's a sin not to take advantage of it while he's in the body of a mushroom, and in other words, he can ravish her at no risk. It's a chance he can't pass up, but he's beaten back by Katamaro. Sauda thought he was going to die and apologized to the crazy mushroom, Aphrodite's hand monster. He realized what he wanted to do here. Apparently, he's always on guard, and he didn't even realize what was happening. If he's so vigilant, he'd better look for someone else. He noticed Caroline and wondered what he'd done. The girl ordered the goblins to keep up the pace, let them not laugh off the slack, and she, as Suda's right hand, can't let his howls relax. She trains the goblin in her spare time, so that's why the goblin's levels are rising on their own, even though she doesn't send them into battle. It's all thanks to the vampiress. Caroline turned to Cora and stated that there was no vacation team. The guy had an idea. What if he got Carolina to kick him, and he could look up her skirt again? He decided it was time to change the controls on the Goblin Knight to lend him your body. Sauda noted that this ball and armor is insanely heavy. Caroline asked him why he stopped. He will be punished for it, and from now on, she increases his gravity from 5 to 10 times. It turns out that the girl knows how to increase gravity and use this spell to increase the effectiveness of training. No wonder he can't even get to his feet, and generally not developed too hard, or it's just that he's a shitty fighter. Caroline asked how long he was going to be on the ground while putting her foot on the goblin. Suda thought it was great to be stepped on by a beautiful maid and to be able to look at her mustache. He was in paradise. Caroline wondered what his gaze was, if he was a goblin. Because in his eyes, she could see the look of a human and feel the presence of magic. Suda realized that this is dangerous, and he can't stay in this body anymore. He got what he wants. It's time to go all in. And he chose the next monster, and now he's a kitsunebi. If you think about it, you're not a bad choice. Goblins aren't likely to get a girl's attention, but the little beast is pretty cute. Now that he's so cute, it's time to visit Ciel. Suddenly, I came across her house. Apparently, she was able to build it with new materials, and that's impressive. After all, to build even such a simple house, you need good skills. Ciel addressed him as Kotaro, and he noted that she seemed to have given the fox a name. Suda didn't understand why he found it so attractive in the capsule, and his plan had worked, and he could admire it as much as he wanted. It was sexy. Ciel noticed that Kotaro's breathing was so heavy that he wasn't feeling well. The boy thought about how it was just the perfect cover, and how cool it was to be a kitsunebi. Maybe he should try something more like jumping on her breasts, or better yet, getting between her tits. The two of them on the bed, she has such a wet body and also these soft charms. Seal started laughing that it was the fox doing it. It tickled her. The guy himself remarked that how awesome it is. He can't stop and he has to try everything. The girl has such great ones. Suda didn't think Seal was like that. He knows foxes are cute, of course, but he didn't think it would go this far. Seal looks naive and innocent. Well, it looks like it went soulfully well. That's even better, and we can continue. Suddenly, someone knocked, and it was Caroline. She apologized for the intrusion. Caroline wondered if something was wrong. She jumped up like that. Seal, what are you? So nothing, they asked the vampire if something was wrong or if there was an errand. Caroline stated that she wasn't here about work, but that something was bothering me. Suda remarked that it was bad timing on the part of the vampires. If she suspected anything again, he would quickly change control. Caroline stated that how should I put it, she could sense her master's presence here. The boy urged himself to calm down and run away if anything happened. Seal wondered what she meant, if he could get into the capsule. Caroline said that in theory not, but she could sense his presence, and she could sense and discern the souls of all beings. Sauda realized that it was dangerous that she could sense his soul. Seal pointed out that if he wasn't a tamer but a student of monsters, why would he be trapping himself in a pod? And vampire agreed. But she also suggested that if one of his skills allowed him to move into the pod. Seal didn't think that was particularly possible, and she thought she would just have to ask him directly the next time she saw him. Carolina agreed with her, and Suda thought that he was saved just a little bit more. Carolina apologized for bothering her. They would see each other tomorrow. The vampiress also didn't think it was worth it to use monsters to fulfill her sexual fantasies. Suda noted that as expected of Caroline, it was dangerous in this, but too perceptive. One would have to refrain from using this skill. The other adventurers were murmuring that he was the one who'd killed the ghost, but he was just a kid. Suda noted that there was a strange atmosphere from these rumors, and especially that the ghost had defeated Caroline, and he had only reported it to Chloe, and probably for nothing. Then he told Chloe that he thought the ghost wouldn't cause any more trouble. Suddenly, someone called out to the guy and said he had a little talk to him. Sauda apologized, but he doesn't know who the guy is. The guy claims his ignorance, but his name is Guard Westberg. He's one of the 7 heroes. 300 years ago, his ancestors performed great feats in the war against the mighty demon Elbrus. The country knows their Vestbergs well as a family of heroes. It is believed that every member of the family is reborn sooner or later, and every day they save up more and more strength to one day infect a powerful demon again. Suda didn't understand why he needed to know all this, and he clarified what he wanted to talk about. Guard was baking about the fact that he was able to overpower the ghost from the graveyard, and wanted to ask for his help in subduing the powerful demon. Suda wondered if the mighty demon had been reborn, to which Guard suggested he talk about it out of here. If he is interested, then tonight he can go to the bar in the north, and they will tell him everything. They will be waiting for him. Aphrodite said that she didn't mind the restraint, but that she needed to build up more strength. Aphrodite used to want to get rid of the powerful demon and return to heaven. Is she so comfortable with the monster that she has forgotten about paradise? Suda asked Seal for her opinion as well, to which the girl replied that if it was true, she was in favor of it, and the faster the fewer victims. The boy agreed with her and then asked Caroline's opinion. The vampiress answered that it was a waste of time because the mighty demon the man was talking about was fake. However, the guy didn't understand how she knew that. Caroline apologized. She was too confident. She wanted to say that she thought that that demon might not be real, but you can go listen to find out more. Sauda came to the conclusion that it would be worth trying to listen to him, and if it was too risky, he could refuse. He asked for Aphrodite's opinion, and she agreed. Guard knew the boy was coming and suggested he get right to the subject. There was a rumor about not settling in the mansion in the east, and they say that several high-ranking adventurers have not returned from there. Guard would like to put him on the case. Sauda asked if the mighty demon himself would be there, to which the hero said that it could be too. Suda thought that this one was a good place to start, and Guard added that the 30 million call reward would be good for him. Sauda was shocked by this figure, to which the hero said that he is about heroes, and for him such money is nothing. If you analyze what he heard, it is hardly a powerful demon, well even for a fake pays 300 million, and is not it cool? Sauda agreed and said that he did everything in his power. They shook hands and will fight together for peace on Earth. After a while, Guard was chatting with the other men and said that another fish had easily taken the bait. Again, he would throw the adventurer to fight the monsters, and when he was exhausted, the fisherman would take his own. Guard said that if the monster was strong, he could throw it and get away. The men said he was a boss and a genius. Guard said that the noble blood always leads, and if you hint about the mighty demon, the passage on the monsters of the state pays dough to Mr. Heroes. He proclaimed the glory of the business of subduing the mighty demon, and who would doubt the words of a noble hero? The weight of this conversation had been overheard by Caroline's bat. The girl noted with anger that he had invoked the Lord's name for such a low purpose, and they should expect no mercy. The next day came, and they came to the very same mansion, which looked very large. Aphrodite wondered if that's really not where they'd go. What if the real Ibris was there? She pointed out that even a child could beat up a guy, and maybe it was worth it to get a little more pumped up. Seal stated that she was kind of scared too. Suda actually felt uneasy too, and it was unlikely that there was a real powerful demon here. Caroline urged them not to be afraid. The magical power emanating from the mansion is definitely not the master of a powerful demon. However, the great magical power still spoke of a high-ranked being, but her master would treat him like a child. Sauda thought about how Carolina was always overestimating his abilities, but since she's with them, he thinks there's nothing to be afraid of, and what will happen is unknown, but you have to keep your cool. The boys remarked that it was so old and dirty, but not a bad mansion. Caroline noted that there is such a great collection here with only the most first-class books. Sauda asked if it would fulfill her wish and the books of all times. Caroline said that yes, if such a collection was put in a capsule, it would not be so boring. The boy said that if it was the books she had asked for, then it would be possible to try to take over the capsule bookcase. But first, it would be necessary to decide how to deal with the inhabitants of the mansion. It was still unclear whose property it was. Suddenly, someone shouted, and the guy asked what was wrong. Aphrodite stated that there were monsters, scary and nasty monsters. Ghouls were coming at her. Sutha called out that he was now putting them in a capsule, and Aphrodite asked him not to do it. They live in the capsule too. She doesn't want to live with this rotten meat. The guy accepted this information and released the kitsunebi who attacked with their fire. The rotten meat now had a toasty crust. Seal, meanwhile, praised the monsters for being so handsome. Caroline is sure that the very magic she was talking about is being channeled there. Soda for what well I don't enter. However, suddenly there was Yuko's ghost. The girl was shocked and asked him what he was doing here. Caroline was also shocked and asked what she would do here. Yuko replied that this was her house, and she was just changing in her room. Aphrodite asked what they wouldn't do, and Seal asked if they didn't know each other. The boy thought he should start by asking Yuko. The girl had left the city to live far to the east, but the vile hunters had destroyed her home to pieces. Then she found this manor, and the owner died of illness, and the place was deserted, and she decided to take it over. Suda thought she lived in that cemetery. Well, as it turned out, the girl went there to revive some new allies. There are so many corpses, so many materials. Now adventurers and hunters frequent the place. She called them disgusting people. Carolina said that the state gives generous cash rewards to hunters. Suda asked what she does when someone comes here. Does she kill them? Yuko replied that if you don't know the person, she doesn't even touch him, just asks him to get out of here. And to make sure he didn't show up, she sends an yurei to bite him a little. Suddenly, there were voices from behind, and someone said he didn't know who lived here. Guard said that he thought the boy would be alone, but it was more fun that way. Sauda asked him what he was doing here. Guard didn't realize he was just a pawn he was sacrificing and used him and his power to fight monsters. In fact, he wanted to put them all down at once and smash yours. But since the enemy is short, you can't wait. That they'll make them the Hunter and the Rose Festival clan. Sauda noted that this is what they got. He thought then his story was kind of weird. But I don't think this guy could fool him. Caroline asked her master to deal with the scum. She'd have seconds to tear them up and get rid of the bodies. But the guy said that this is not the way to go. If you give the will Carolina, but the exact will cut, and it is necessary to equalize the power. Sauda called out to the Goblin Knights and stated to go forward. Guard think it's just Sufi, so he is, and Untruth Tamer. Of course, it's a profession, really. Does he really think his one green knight will protect him from 10 guys? Sauda said no one said he had one. Guard didn't understand how so many. Even a freak like this could be scared. And after all, to use 15 miracles, you needed to be about level 150. Guard declared that not a step back, let the number of them less some rivals they bought. The armor of his goblins is riveted in the forged seal, and they themselves are hardened by Caroline's training. These guys got beat up by some goblins. Some man went to Mr. Guard and said he'd do it. Let him do it. The man's name is Doman Baldox. Sauda didn't realize what kind of man he was, but strong. Guard praised Damon and stated that he alone can be relied on. Now let him rip the head off this freak. Damon stated that he would show him how to boo at Mr. Guard. Sauda pointed out that it needed something later than a goblin knight, so he summoned a werewolf. Damon said he was okay, but Guard wondered if he even had a werewolf. The werewolf is not worthy of a weakling opponent. He still has his companions, and before he lets them out, will he have the last word? Guard asked who he was. Damon rushed after the Lord and, saying it was dangerous to be here, told him to run away. Sauda wondered where they were going and summoned the mad mushrooms, who sprayed disorder powder. Guard's body started to burn, and he didn't realize what it was. Meanwhile, all his boys started declaring their love to each other, and he was dumbfounded that it wasn't happening. Suddenly, Damon told him that he had always loved him. He adored him with all his heart. When he makes a manly face, it's impossible to resist. Guard asked what he'd done. He wouldn't let it go. The Feast of Thunder got the punishment they deserved, and their names now fit them exactly. Aphrodite asked if he had deliberately put the mushrooms there with this in mind. Seal stated that Suda had. Yuko stated that she hadn't laughed like that in a long time. She wondered if he wouldn't kill them. Very entertaining for a normal person, and she praised him. Caroline asked the ghost how she talks with her filthy-like mouth to her master. Yuko apologized immediately. Suda said that it would be better for her to leave this mansion, because the rumors that there are unclean things here have spread far and wide, and there may be stronger hunters coming here. Yuko said that this is a stupid suggestion and nothing will change for people like her. There is no place in the world where she is not being hunted. She looks different now than she did in the graveyard, when her features were blurry. Maybe she has two modes like Carly, ghost mode and human mode, he thought. Suda said he knew a nice quiet place for her, a comfortable area bigger than the mansion, and no hunters would get in. Yuko is very curious, but she doesn't believe it. But if it's true, she would like him to show it to her. Sauda said that as she said that, only could she turn away. Then he touched her with the capsule. He knew it was possible to touch her in daytime human mode. Now the inhabitants can sleep well, but the girl is also safe. Today he caught a ghost Lolka. A week later, Sauda bought the house where Yuko lived. Odin Takoi Osobniak Kak on Slishal Stoit, Bolshetselik 50000000000 Kol, Nasluki Chto Tomzivut Monstris Dalali Svoidelo. The price was lowered a lot, and he was able to buy the house for about 1/10 of the original price. He had to pay almost the entire reward from the water fees, but it was worth it. He was a little 7 from all this time his Pokemon had been sitting in the pod, but now they could all live in this huge house. Caroline now had books and all 3 of the girls' errands he had completed. They yelled for him to stop being born and go help. Aphrodite stated that this mansion was too big and they would never put the place in order. Why should the goddesses have to do the cleaning at all? Yuko stated that she understood her, so why should she demon obey from some human? The boy pointed out, and it was in the middle of general cleaning. Caroline clarified from the girl whether she poked something, to which Yuko replied that there was nothing. Sauda had assigned each girl a separate room and had moved what they had asked for into the capsule so he could finally sleep in silence. He thought so, but where did he count everything? Caroline, Aphrodite, and Seal slept next to him. He bought a house equipped the capsule, but it was as if nothing had changed. Aphrodite burst into his room and said there was trouble. Caroline had been grabbed by a man. The vampire apologized for being inattentive. The human stated that she had heard that demons lived here, but they seemed to be all human. She didn't understand if the man was cooperating with the undead. Seal recognized the man as her teacher. It was her voice. Suda noted that it was Seal's teacher who had disappeared without a trace, who had gone to battle with demons 2 years ago. The teacher's name is Riku Garbanento. and she asked the girl how she got here. Riku wondered if it had been like that, and she should have thanked him first. She thanked him for saving Seal, because she was out of town and would never have made it. Suda said she shouldn't, because she'd helped him out too. Riku stated that she realized Carolina had been taken captive by House Bakajim, and he had rescued her too. Suda confirmed there, so Carolina is not as evil demon as she might have thought. Bakajim's company is indeed loud, but not the best words. His courage is commendable. Sauda noted that she understood him. However, the girl stated that, unfortunately, there are no good demons in this world. She stated that the boy was just bewitched by this demon, which is their style. Sauda said no, that's not true. Caroline told the master not to even try, because it was pointless to say anything to someone like her. Riku noted how fast the girl was, to which Caroline said that she hit like a human, and only for the sake of respecting her weapons would she unleash her power a little. Sauda noted that that was it. Caroline was in vampire mode. Ciel was concerned, but Caroline said that she had not beaten her to death and that she would wake up soon. Riku noted that the girl had defeated her and regretted the humiliation. Sauda asked the teacher why she hated demons so much. Riku shared that something happened one day near the city. They came across the former commander of the demon army, Rumel. The exit was 6 people and all were adventurers of rank A. With a huge loss in strength, their squad was smashed on the head, and not only this demon. All the devil from the demon army scattered around the world, and they do not give anywhere in the life of people. So for the sake of her comrades, she decided to join the hunter units and destroy the wickedness so that no creature would tread this land. If she came to say so, and confidence would be shaken, so she left the city without a word. Riku apologized to her student Ciel. Ciel, she's so glad I'm the teacher alive. Riku heard that demon activity here has increased dramatically, so she's here. You're the mansion and casino built on the site of the Bakraji company. There's a huge loan there. A lot of visitors turn into enemies and rumors hint at demon connections. There's nowhere to put spies to contact them, but maybe they're gone. Suda suggested they might take the case. Riku pointed out that they would then be in danger. Suda said it was okay. She had already seen Caroline and he had other strong allies. If not, her comrades would help her out and prove to him that there were good demons. He had to quietly go alone to the casino for reconnaissance. Why did she go with him? Aphrodite said that it is dangerous to let him go there alone, because she does not ask him if he will lose all of his honestly earned. Some men nearby were talking about how this casino's been doing well lately. But Chargem's company had a new boss who'd disappeared without a trace. He heard the new bosses are more entrepreneurial. It seems to be the same shirt he was involved with, and after that he wondered how they were doing. According to Ricky's story, there's a lot of money flowing in this place. They decided to see what was going on. Sauda was amazed at how many girls were here and they had some signs on them. A man appeared and asked the dear guests if it was the first time they were in their place and they had price tags around their necks. The man's name is Los Torrizalti. All the female staff of their calling is a commodity. If he wins, he can buy the girl he likes with special currency. Suda decided to ask who he was. Los noted that he didn't have time to introduce himself. He gave his name. He's the head commissioner of Bakarji's firm and the owner of the casino. Southeastern's rumored new top firm is true. And compared to the usual sale of slaves, a casino with winnings spurs human excitement and brings in more revenue. If they have any questions, they can call him. Aphrodite stated that he was not human. The age of the demon in human mode must not have a piercing eye, or it would have sensed Aphrodite's aura. Carly would have been the same way, so the rumors of demon involvement in the casino are true. Aphrodite said they had to find out everything about the enemy first. Suda remarked that did she really just want to play in the casino? 2 hours later, Sauda had lost a lot of money. The game started out fun, and he had a number of easy wins, and then when he started to raise a card, the bet didn't go. Aphrodite apologized to Sauda as she had lost everything. Sauda stated that it's okay. They spent $500,000 a call with her. They only blew through their planned expenses for this month. There is still over $1 million still stored in the pod, and they will apologize to the girls together then. Aphrodite stated that she lost all the money in the capsule as well. Aphrodite asks Suda why he brought her here, what he wants to do. Does he want to do something naughty to her for losing money? The guy told her to stop making up things and clarified if she lost all the money. The girl stated that she had initially 500K call, but then decided to win it back. He noted if she noticed anything strange. For example, small bets were winning, but as the bets increased, she began to lose more often. Aphrodite noted that something like that was going on. Sauda feels like they didn't lose. They just got cheated. Rika said that visitors were charged with debts and then taken away as slaves. They forged debts and turned them into commodities. In general, dirty money. And the men were sold as cheap labor. That's why he wants to bust their scams. The guy asked the girl to watch his body. If anything happens, she can call him through contact. If he got through the vent, he could probably get out from the other side of the wall, in which case he would need a kitsunebi. Erudita didn't understand what the guy was up to. With his new ability, he can transmigrate into the bodies of other monsters. In this case, kitsunebi. He asked Aphrodite to catch him, saying that he would expose their plan. But what about the reality? The blonde guy said he'd piss himself laughing. The other asked him if he was talking about that busty blonde. Judging by her looks, she was an aristocrat. Suda assumed that they were talking about Aphrodite. He didn't understand why only idiots came to the casino, but they didn't notice how they used illusion magic to change the suits of the cards. Suda noted that they had given away all the secrets so quickly. The magic of illusion? It must be a type of dark magic. Lust suddenly appeared and asked the guys why they weren't working. He also asked what was wrong with the blonde, because he had ordered to squeeze every last bit of money out of her. The blonde stated that he had easily squeezed her for the 10 million call, all thanks to the illusion magic he taught them. He reported that the blonde ran away with tears in her eyes. Lost punched him and said he was an idiot. How many times has he said that they put idiots in the game in debt and put them on the counter? A woman with such looks could be taught to dance and sold to the aristocrats of Iswarshan, and they would earn at least 30 million coals. The light-haired man told Mr. Lost that he would fix it. Mr. Lust clarified how, what an idiot he is. He has lost a lot of money and he is just worthless trash. That's why he hates messing with people. Sauda said that to him, humans are like trash. So the demon Lost is behind this whole thing, and that's why good demons like Carly are thought of poorly. Sauda mentally told Lost to hold on, because his business was in for a shakeup. It's been a few days. Caroline says her gut tells her there's a member of her kind inside. But the aura, she thinks the owner is a worthless demon, so he can't smell her from there. As always, Caroline's the most reliable. He sold the rare items from the mansion and collected 20 million call. That's all the money they have now. The game in which he decided to challenge this blogger, he had already lost so much. The man asked how much he'd bet, to which Sauda said he'd bet everything, go all in. Everyone was shocked. He bet 200 chips. That's betting 20 million at a time. The man clarified that the move could not be reversed and if he was sure. He stated that, well, I will then, they will start the game. Sauda was preparing for the best, but it looks like he just decided he was a dummy. He had a very confident face and believes in his sleight of hand and magic. Sauda looked at his cards, however. It was charging like that, not even a pair. The man asked if he should stop playing cards, and Sauda agreed. However, he has a shish again, and of course the probability of such a fallout exists. But they just yesterday, it's not just a fluke. It's all over the dealer's face. Sauda gave the order to Carolina, after which the guy announced that he had all trumps and a royal straight flush. People were shocked. A royal straight flush is 100 times the bet. So he won 20 trillion. Claimed it couldn't have happened. If he decided to cheat them with magic, it's not a big deal if they also cheat with the same magic but a little more powerful. He's got pros on his team. The dealer said he was a fraud and let him tell us how he did it. Sauda didn't understand why he was the crook. Did he really know the cards he was holding? Mr. Lust appeared and dragged away what all the fuss was about. The dealer apologized to him, and Lost looked at the cards and invited the dear guest into his office. He wants to give advice for the future to a guest who won a large sum of money. Sauda headed after the gentleman and asked Caroline to wait here. It's okay. Lost noted that he heard he was lucky and he congratulated him. Sauda asked about the winnings. Lust replied that it was now and let him keep what he asked for. He swung the knife, but Sauda came back and clarified what he was up to. They don't have money for people like him. He could have just lost quietly and gotten away with it. Sauda noted that he'd just burned down his whole office. Lust ordered her men to finish the buckas off. Suda stated that since that was the case, he summoned his goblins into knights and called to attack them. Lost didn't understand how he had so much, and his men were useless morons. Okay, he didn't want to show up in this form, but what can you do and what is he going to do now? This is his true form. Lost turned out to be a vampire. Sauda's freaking out because his stats are even lower than he thought. Lost called the guy a pathetic flea. But Sauda thought he was being too cheerful, and he had one Pokemon that would take the smile off his face. Sauda summoned an Alamantite golem that struck hard. Lost asked the guy who he was, to which Sauda introduced himself and said he was just an adventurer. Lost didn't believe he was a common adventurer. Sauda noted that he had swindled him out of his money, and how much more he had swindled, what had become of it, washed up mad as hell. Lost said he would free all their debtors from slavery and could give him first-class slaves if he would only spare him. Sauda said no, he wouldn't. There was another reckoning waiting for him. Then he took him into the pod. If he's going to go on a rampage there too, he'll sleep like a junior until he lets him out. Sauda was glad he'd caught the casino owner, so the casino was exposed for the fraud it was, lost its top man and was shut down. Ricky's comrades and other Ravs were released. Ricky said that she was sincerely grateful to him. The cart contained the money confiscated from the casino, and she wanted to give it to him. Suda clarified if it was all that money, and the girl confirmed it. A lot of money was taken by the escaped casino employees, but about 100 million. Ricky apologized to Caroline for wanting to hurt her. Looks like she's the one who exposed the casino's foul play. Come to think of it, even she didn't dare to confront them openly, let alone her. Ricky still thought badly of the demons, but now changed her view without among them there are others like her. Carolina confirmed it. Suda was glad the misconception had been debunked. Seal asked her teacher what she was going to do now. Ricky replied that as long as there were people suffering from demons, she would continue her hunt and clarified to the student whether she would send her with her. Seal hesitated, but her teacher replied that she was joking because her face showed that she was in love. Ricky asked Sauda to look after her student, and lastly, she gave her a ring. It's a death resistance ring. It can save her from damage once a day. This ring will save her from a fatal blow. Danger awaits the adventurer at every turn, and this ring will protect her. Seal thanked her teacher. Ricky wished her luck and urged her not to lose to her rivals. When Lost woke up, Suda asked him if he was awake. The vampire recognized him and noted that he was tied up, then worriedly asked what he wanted to do with him. He asked for anything to keep him alive. Suda said that if anything, as long as he was okay with it. How about being a housekeeper in his new body? Lost quipped that he was all for it. He was a good cook too. But then he noticed the words about a housekeeper in a new body. Turns out Sauda's got a new talent here. What if you cross a vampire with a crazy mushroom? Succubi are monsters who turn men into slaves with their sexy bodies and failed libidos. It's every man's dream, if this day has come. Sauda thanked Lost and made the crossbreeding. The ropes on his arms unraveled, but Lost was shocked at what had happened to his body. Suda noted that she was fucking gorgeous, maybe because he was handsome himself. What a pretty face she had, and her breasts were about the size of Aphrodite's. Lost asked the guy what he'd done to him, but he told him to calm down. He doesn't realize it yet, but he's become an awesome hottie. How he envies her too, now he can squeeze as much as he wants. He has a suggestion for him, if he'll let him touch them a little. Lost asks if he's mocking him and he'll kill him. However, for some reason he can't hit him. Suda stated that it was a property of the ball capsule that the captured creature could not harm its master. Though it had hit him a couple of times, it seemed the effect only worked on malicious strikes, or the goddesses were just special. Lost didn't realize what. He must have really treated him too harshly. Caroline has asked the master for permission to do her. He is fine with it, but what do they want to do? At this point, she is not ready to serve her master, so they will retest her from scratch. Lost wondered how they would re-educate her. Thank you, but he can do without maids somehow. Yuko hit him back and told him he was ignorant. Before him stands the mother of vampires, Mistress Caroline, and a lowly demon like him doesn't even dare to speak to her without her permission. Lost stated that this was a lie. Caroline was a hero of the vampire race, and she would not listen to a pathetic human. Caroline stated that if he said one more insult to her master, she would rip out his tongue and he would never speak again. Lost said it was convincing, and she's definitely Mistress Caroline. She was happy to be able to serve the mother of vampires herself. Sauda wondered if they had broken his manhood. For vampires, it is supreme happiness to listen to a stronger individual. It is an expected response. The boys were amazed at where it all came from, and Aphrodite declared that Lusta had prepared it all. The girl said that there were no things a man could do that he couldn't. He wanted just a succubus, but a housewife is not bad either. He used to trust only Caroline with the house, and especially the kitchen. And in the battles he throws her into, she's the shoulder to hold everything together. Losta looks fucking great in a maid's outfit. Losta urged him not to think wrong. She had prepared this out of love and respect for Mrs. Caroline, and certainly not for him. The boy noted that she seemed to be a tsundere as well. When will she finally get it? She told her to fly off the handle when she spoke to her master. However, not demons and being submissive in front of humans. Carolina clarified who you gave her permission to justify herself, for which the girl apologized. And Sauda just wants to eat, and he's full. He hasn't checked his status in a while, and he's raised a few levels. Probably thanks to Yuko and Lost. He also has a new skill, reincarnation. The conditions worked when he made the guy a succubus. It's kind of like psychological manipulation, only now his body won't lie unprotected, and the other creature won't be affected in any direct way. It seems like it would even be more fun and should be tested soon. This time he decided to use Aphrodite as well. But why is she just at the top of the list and no more without any hesitation? Suddenly he moved into her, noting that the voice and clothes are really hers. He wasn't ashamed if he touched a little, but it was his body. The guy noted how soft they were. You could really squeeze them since forever. Suddenly, someone coughed and said that she had seen everything. He pretended like he didn't know what Losta was talking about. Can't you see he's a son like the goddess Aphrodite? Losta stated that he was a stupid, cheap friend, and he knew it was him. Plus, his pretenses are noticeable about manners and movements are masculine. What an anecdote. If you tell Mrs. Caroline about it, he'll fall to the bottom of the pile in her eyes. Sauda realized that nothing good would come of it, and let them please keep it a secret for everyone. He's willing to do anything. He sounds like a hentai heroine about to be killed. Losta noted that he says anything. She stated that she would teach him one lesson that she had experienced firsthand. A lesson in the humiliation of being turned into a woman. How come, with bodies they intertwine like lilies and souls like crosses, what's her name? But captured creatures can't harm their host. It seems they can be subdued with a swift flick of the tongue. This isn't a demon uprising, it will be part of a special performance and he can do anything he wants with it. If he continues like this, he will lose something very important, and there is no better way to be just branded a pervert. Sauda called out for help for someone to come along. Caroline appeared asking what was wrong. Sauda suddenly returned to his usual guise, with Lusta looming overhead. Carolina clarified what it all meant. Lusta stated that it was not what she thought. The guy was evil using skills and engaging in debauchery, and she just wanted to punish him. Caroline clarified who the promiscuous one was. Maybe it's the profligate one. Apparently, the action of reincarnation is much less than he thought, and mentally apologized to Lusta. Suda noted that the only thing left to buy was cheese and eggs. The bigger the party, the harder the purchases. You can send everything to the capsule, but mine isn't hard. Aphrodite called the guy over and told him to look at the cute clothing store. He noticed she was wearing new clothes and asked where she got them from. It turned out that Losta had made them from what she had found in the mansion. Sauda was amazed that she not only cooked well, but also knew how to live. Aphrodite replied that they had been alone so little lately and he had stopped talking about her, so she wanted to go shopping with him today. The guy agreed that since he had such a serious outing today, she could buy whatever she wanted. He of course said to buy whatever she wanted, but not in such quantities. And Aphrodite said that this is lingerie for everyone. She chose the most suitable, and that's it. Now she suggested he go over there. Suddenly someone called out to Aphrodite. It was a guy named Morizumi Shinji. This guy has a Japanese name, but how does he know Aphrodite? Turns out it was his land and he said his name. Suda realizes he's as much a summoner as he is. Aphrodite claimed that she remembered him, but the guy realized that like hell she remembered him. Shinji asked Mrs. Aphrodite what she is doing here in such a place, and ours is performing the greatest work on the connection of this world and their world. Who is this man next to her? Aphrodite said that this is her servant. She took a vacation from her work in paradise, kissed the assigned boy, and decided to look at this world. Shinji pointed out that it was the right thing to do. It was a mind blast what it all meant, though the truth was hard to explain, so let it be. And the doctors wondered if the guy was demon hunting now. Shinji's listening in Denmark. It's the strongest group of hunters in the world. Every day they pour their strength into them so that when the prophecy of resurrection comes true. He only achieved all of this because she gave him the profession of Holy Knight. Sauda noted that it seems like some kind of cool profession. Shinji noted that there was a man he wanted her to meet, who was Japanese like him but unusually strong, and they had seen him recently. Suddenly, some man called another man a shit and asked if he couldn't see where he was going, if he wanted to die. Suda pointed out that it was a first-rate Bulanoi like from the movies. The man continued to be indignant if he even knew who he was. Unknown to the whole city, and you are A-rank lawyers, brothers Basalt. But they ain't no devils. If he bows down to apologize, maybe they'll forgive him. Then they called him a pissing devil and said he was dead. But this guy got rid of them very quickly, and Saito didn't even notice. Who he is. The guy's name is Kuro Ryuki, and he had very powerful things, demonic and holy sword. Where did he get them? Shinji wondered if they saw it. He's the best in their faction and has the strongest hero profession. He's better known as the two-timing Kuro. They can rest easy because there is no one who can defeat him. He will destroy the demon lord. Sauda stated that he can't feel his legs. Carolina apologized that he had to do the shopping for all of them. The guy replied that it's okay and no problem, just that he met an incredible person today. And Aphrodite also confirmed that this is an amazing person. This Kuro has great power. He kind of has the strongest hero profession, and it's the opposite of the most worthless monster tamer profession. The guys didn't understand what was wrong with Carolina. What was wrong with her face? The girl answered that it was nothing. She just remembered a man whose name was Kuro. Suta asked if they had seen him, to which Caroline replied that she had fought with him once and lost. The boys were very surprised at how she lost. Before she met them, she lived in a settlement with other demons, but one day a hunter named Kuro came and destroyed them in the village. He would put that means the slavery on got on because of him too. Caroline confirmed that it was after the defeat against him. Suda didn't know, and he wondered how such a strong Carolina could have been caught. But he didn't think the answer would be, this Kuro was too strong. A demon-hunting hero and a monster tamer living with them. If anyone should defeat Ibris, it should be him. But if it was possible, he would like to continue living here with his friends. Of course, when he first got here, he still wanted to go home. But now he thinks the life here isn't so bad. The mighty demon Ibris had never exclaimed, but that was not to be. The world has already hinted that their peaceful days are coming to an end. Aphrodite woke up the guy from what had happened. All the girls were in his room, and he didn't pick up why they were all here. Seal asked the guy to look out the window. He didn't believe it, and Caroline claimed it was true. What's floating in the air is the Demon Lord's castle. People were talking about something bad is coming, and they need to pack up. Everyone was scared. All around, everyone is just talking about the castle of the mighty demons. It was foretold in the prophecy. The guys had read the advertisements that the required rank was at least A, and Luck was so eager to take this quest. Suda assumed it was a quest for a powerful demon. Oh yeah, here's the quest. Require rank A, and can't he take it? Suta decided that there were enough people like Shinji and Kuro to rely on without him. Aphrodite asked if he hadn't taken the quest. Sauda shared that it was unavailable to him, and nothing could be done about it. But instead, they would go on another quest, the Demon Dimensions. Seal noted that the guy, as always, wants to avoid being killed again by someone else. But he's a coward. Caroline thinks that this is a wise decision, because it is unlikely that he will find a real powerful demon in this castle. The girl said that it's just her intuition, but whoever is in the castle about that and call themselves by that great name is an imposter. Sauda, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, then there is definitely no need to go to the castle. They won't be doing their usual quests. Those Basalt brothers showed up again and had a fight with someone. They asked the man if he'd stick his tongue up his ass. They'd see if he was a tough guy for ignoring them. These brothers look so funny, and they don't look like A-rank adventurers at all. Kuro had just recently beaten them up, but that didn't teach him anything. What kind of people he hasn't met today? And these brothers were ganging up on the Dark Apostle. The brothers agreed, and the Apostle struck them. Caroline told her master that they were leaving. Sauda hid Aphrodite and Siv in a capsule. He asked Caroline who it was. The girl replied that it was a Dark Apostle, a servant of a powerful demon. But she does not understand, because only Mr. Ibris can command them. They have to leave anyway, and they won't come out here and go home. However, there was a huge number of Dark Apostles in the city. He 7 cannot cope. Here, a demon named Rumil Finelli came out to them, and she greeted Caroline, noting that they had not seen each other for a long time. Ricky talked about the commanding marshal of the mighty demon army who had put down a squad of adventurers. So how does she know about Caroline? The vampiress asks Rumil what is going on here. The girl asks such obvious things. The apostles only listened to the commands of Mr. Ibris. She was leading the entire army after all. How can she not know that? Sauda was porked that Carly was leading the army. But given her power, and the fact that she's a demon, it's not hard to believe these points in her bio. Rumil urged her to think of her dignity. Lord Lulbris recognizes her talent. If she goes to the castle like a pie girl, the apostles will be recalled in an instant. Caroline clarified if they wanted to take the townspeople as slaves. Rumil told Pi not to talk nonsense. All living things in this world originally belonged to Mr. Ibris. Caroline went to Rumil and stated to her master that she had no excuse. Sauta stated that he would not let her in, whereupon he summoned the adamantine golem and called for Carly to be taken from her. However, Rumil destroyed it with a single blow, and his name disappeared. He couldn't believe he'd been killed in one blow. How strong she was. Rumil stated that Caroline had disappointed her. A demon like her and serving such a man. She was wrong. Suda noted that as day he was weak. The next morning came. Lusta couldn't believe that Mistress Caroline was gone. Like hell he would still be here doing anything. Yuka agreed that to submit to a man was a sorrow for him. Aphrodite turned to the two and asked them how they are not ashamed. At a time like this, they need to team up and figure out how to get Caroline out. Sauda didn't realize what that sound was. The guards appeared in the room, and the guy indignantly asked who they were and broke into someone else's house. They turned to him and said that he had been arrested on suspicion of treason. The boy sincerely did not understand what they were talking about. The knight stated not to mess around and ordered him to be captured. Suda thought that now he would take out the capsule and... However, he was injected with something and began to pass out. The knight said that the first suspect had been taken, and he should be escorted to the prison tower. On the first day, from the conversation of the guards, the boy realized what was going on. It had something to do with the event of the attack of the apostles of the mighty demon. The city was badly damaged, and the government was investigating the cause, and it came across eyewitnesses who reported a suspicious guy talking to demons. The investigation has hit a snag, and new information has surfaced that the guy has been seen many times with demon-like creatures. The government made its move, blaming a recent devastating event on him, saying that Kazuhaya Suta was conspiring with demons to overthrow the government. And on top of that, because of the state of exhaustion, he has no strength at all, and his stats have fallen and skills have run out. Perhaps it's because of the poison he was injected with, and he's in a hopeless state. Day 3 came. The strange state of exhaustion was not going away in any way. He began to think about how new doses of the drug could be ingested and flushed his food down the toilet. On the 4th day, Southia was hungry and cold, whether a person should be so fucked up after one fast. On the 5th day, he realized from the whispering of the warders that this depletion drug was being sprayed into the cell through the ventilation. So there's no use throwing away food. Day 6 came, and after eating his food, he felt better. It would only get worse if it got worse. The feeling of loneliness. There was no one to talk to. On day 7, he wanted to see someone. He wanted to talk to someone. How are the girls doing? It's not like they've been captured or recognized. He only now realized with a pain in his heart how much happiness was hidden in those carefree days. It was day 8, and he wondered if his prayers had been answered and someone would be moved in. It was the swordsman Kuro. Kuro noted that this guy seemed to be with the goddess at the time. Sauda introduced himself. Like him, he had come here from Earth. Kuro realized that meant he was trapped too. Sauda didn't understand, and Kuro shared that all the summoned from Earth began to be arrested at the same time. It wasn't a simple coincidence. It was all planned by the adjutant of the mighty demon's troops, Hunkel, nicknamed the Great Sage. Songs praise this name of a single brilliant commander of the army of Ibris, who directed the angels to all corners of the earth. And he's gained power over the human world. It seems they've begun to remove anyone who might interfere with the resurrection of a powerful demon. So this guy resurrected Elbris, and Kuro's afraid it's true. Only a powerful demon can control the air castle, and Hunkel needed to get the surviving remnants of Ibris. 500 years ago, the hero killed Ibris, the soul left the body, and the magical powers dissipated into the air. But the people were still afraid, and so the Osyanki was hidden under guard in the capital. However, Hunkel was able to bypass the guards and steal the body, and apparently resurrected it somehow. It was clear to Suda now, a very detailed account of how he knew it all in such detail. Kuro replied that how could he not know? He was the one who slipped past the guards and stole the body. He asked not to be misunderstood. It was not his fault. He had fallen for Hunkel's dirty trick. The unseen beauty begged him to steal the remains, and such breasts he had never seen in his life. He only remembers handing over the body, and then everything seemed to be a blur, and he felt exhausted. Sauda remarked that that meant it was all because of him, then hit him. Kuro asked him not to do that. He hadn't hurt anyone. This guy, he was afraid of this cold-blooded warrior with great strength, even though he had forgotten that he was just an ordinary high school student. His equipment, 2 glorious swords, black feathered robe, as if hinting at the syndrome of an 8th grader. In short, if you remove all this stuff from the hero with almost cheater Sikimi data, he turns from a fierce warrior into a naive high school student, falling for female charms. Suda apologized for hitting him, but let him try to think about how to get out of here. With such an insidious adversary, they need to get Carolina back as quickly as possible. Kuro pointed out that without their abilities, they're just ordinary Japanese schoolchildren, and they can't do anything. Their defeat is predetermined. Suda wondered if he was right. Could it be that when his comrades are in trouble, he can't follow anything? Suddenly, someone called his name, and he recognized that voice. It was the most enchanting goddess in the world, Aphrodite, and they had come to rescue him. The girls were making a dig near the prison tower. Seal got a message from Yuko. Suda was on the 8th floor in a cell. Losta then suggested to come in from here and stated that this Zarsan man is nothing but trouble. But it also gives such a large tunnel impossible to dig in a week. Seal noted that the dwarf besides she was only digging. Without their freezing magic, the whole place collapsed. And thanks to her sewing skill, they are like a real warden and prisoner. She's the best, and Losta clarified if she really thought so. Seal noted that she had to get to the keys somehow, steal them without attracting attention. She asked the boy if he could lend her the keys so she could show her new home to her mother. The guy said he had not been told about the new prisoner, and he had never seen her here before. Losta asked him for his keys, please, and do for 5 minutes, and then she will thank him, and more than once. The guy clarified if this was true, to which Losta stated that yes, well, it would be their secret. Losta was angry that she was being a schmuck, and Seal noted that it was fine. Losta opened the cell and urged the boy to come out with his clothes. Seal urged him to hurry up, because they hadn't thought about the way back yet. Sauda asked them to wait, as he wanted to take one more person with him. Kuro asked the boy what he was up to. He didn't think he would believe the words of a man who dealt with demons. Sauda pointed out that the demons may be demons, but they're his friends. They just have one reason in common to get into Elbris's castle and fight. And they'll need his ability. Kuro, the strongest hero with 2 swords. Kuro notes that since they want the same thing, he'll owe him. Losta stated rubbing are coming up here. 2 people. Seal showed me where to go. Yuko stated I'm hard and why her. Seal supported the girl, say she will make it. Just a little bit left, the strip is close, arena is dripping for her. Sauda noted that it seems to be a cool escape, and everyone is attracted to the girl who can fly. Aphrodite said that now he was indebted to them for the rest of his life, to which the boy replied that there was no arguing. All Aphrodite did was hang on Yuko as a useless burden, but still I'm a useless face came to get him out of trouble. Suda noted that he had never imagined that even Losta would come to his rescue. Losta said that he was mistaken. She had only saved him so that his sneaky nature could help him with Mrs. Carolina. Suda checked with Kuro to see what was wrong with him, and it turned out that he seemed to be looking up his skirt. Yuko yelled at them to stop swinging there, and if they didn't calm down, she would let them all go. Seal noted that Kuro had let them stay with him. Aphrodite stated that the den was kind of decrepit and immediately brought to mind their first night together with Sauda. Kuro's group has set up bases all over the world, and this is one of them. Your unassuming appearance doesn't attract government attention. It's the perfect hideout for fugitives to lay low. Kuro travels to another base to meet one of the clansmen. He left, but he promised to come back at the minute of the fight, so in terms of results, prison played to his advantage. Not enough girls in there, or he'd be sitting there like a punk houseboy. Kuro also shared the weightlessness stone, and now they can get into the air castle. But he doesn't think they can just fly in from the front door, fight off Carly, and get away. They need a plan. The girls backed him up. Yuko suddenly appeared to express that things are fucked. Her kin is in front of this and let him watch. It was an invitation to join the mighty demon's army. At the same time, the throne room of the air castle, Rumil finished her report in front of Mr. Ibris. When they are alone, he can call her real name. He wants to have the most trust in her eyes. Rumil apologized to Mr. Hunkel. Hunkel said that the probability of success is about 30%, and that's not good. Rumil apologized, but the people from the gods sent by the gods are resisting and showing unpredictable strength. Hunkel ordered to continue the arrest. Soon their poster campaign will work, and demons from all corners of the earth will join them. Hunkel noted that all the problems and being great is no fun at all. He only enjoys talking to Caroline. She has the face of a mongrel. Why doesn't she eat or sleep? Caroline clarified that you go or wake up in a coffin. Hunkel noted that these are cruel words, and I was forever in love with this body, whether she likes it when he touches her. And enough of her showing her temper. Let her be his. The queen said that he was a stinking piece of shit who stole Mr. Ibris's body and he made her sick. Hunkel clarified since it's okay to spit on someone's face like that. Caroline remarked that it was intolerable, wise Commander Hunkel. She had felt his strange affection for her before. And then she hated him. But on top of that, he put his soul in the body of Mr. Ibris and trumpeted the lies of the resurrection of the mighty demon. Hunkel said it was all right. His magic would clear her head and she would become an obedient puppet. It's nothing to play with her soul. She's like a kid. The one she hates most in the body of the one she loved most in the world. Her body and her heart can't fight anymore. Na mentally begged her master to save her. A few days later, in the dining room of Elbris Castle 2, one of the demons turned to Lusta and asked her for more. She's such a pawpaw. It's time to confess her feelings. Though in general, Dana should belong to everyone. A beautiful body doesn't care what kind of spirit is in it. The effect of reincarnation does not last very long, but thanks to Losta's magic potion, the skill became suitable for prolonged use. The track records and portfolios of competitors, as it turned out, much less than the charms of Laura's body. That's how they ended up here. Yuko turned to Losta, asking what she told her to do with the wet dishes. Why did she have to repeat herself? Losta apologized to the head maid. Yuko had taken the example of the old army maids in the past and was now promoted to head maid. It seems the new army is experiencing a severe shortage of capable personnel. That probably played into it too. But first and foremost, they are here for Carolina, and under the guise of duty, they follow the lock. To get Carolina back to the cafe, she has to be at least 5 meters away, and the contact will help them find her. It covers a radius of 50 meters. The castle is huge, but with effort and armed with contact, he'll find her someday. They all followed, almost all of them, but Caroline was never found. The last one left was the Roan Hall. According to various servants, only the top brass of Ibris's inner circle can get in. No one even knows how to get in. To go up the career ladder, he would not. But it would take forever, and time had already exhausted his patience. And then the chance itself lay in the palm of his hand. Rumil appeared in the dining room. The boys noted that they were the life of the first division. Rumil said that the chief of the first canteen slightly killed, so they will have lunch with them. Rumel is an elite warrior of the 1st Division and are among the top. She always eats in Canteen 1, which is only for the elite, and ordinary demons and generally anyone eats in Canteen 2. Not once he has seen here yet. She has access to the throne room and has the authority to attend cash meetings with Ibris. You need to get close to her and it has never happened and chance, however, to them to use more. Rumil turned her attention to him and said that he was seeing him for the first time. Let him say his name. Sauta introduced himself as Lostos Torizalti. Rumil noted how pretty she was and she liked her. Let her come to his room in the evening and she will not offend her with affection. Suda didn't understand anything. Rumil finds him sexually attractive. Unexpected. But now it was the first sure step on the way to the throne room. Sauta urged Carolyn to stay close to him. Rumil noted that it was Lusta. Sauta was tasked with why she was in her robe. Rumil asked if she could pour the girl some wine. Well, something replied that she didn't drink. Rumil offered her the usual grape juice. Let her tell her why she decided to join the troops of the mighty demon. Lusta stated that, to be honest, she had wanted to meet Mr. Ibris for a long time, and to enter the service is any chance. Rumil noted that Mr. Ibris is adored by a whole mouthful of demons, and she understands her well. Lusta asked her if she had seen him in person, if she could hope to see him with at least one eye. Rumil noted that the Lord rarely leaves the throne room, and to enter the room you need a pendant like this. Only those who wear the pendant can enter and see the Lord. Sauta noted that it was fine as long as it was the most valuable piece of information, maximizing the moment he would steal it away. Rumil wondered why she was asking her about such a thing, if she loved him that much. Lusta stated that she didn't, she just did. Panicked that she was being suspected. Rumil threw the girl on the bed and stated that next to him is a woman who thinks so much of her now and she is jealous of her. Rumil stated that she was not wrong, and under her clothes she really has a magnificent body. Let this evening be choked with love as well. Suda replied something about an excellent chance. First, he whisked her away, and while she recovered, he lightly swung the pendant. Rumil urged her to open up wherever she liked. Sauta remarked that he was a moron. For how was he Virgin Classic going to whisk away a grown woman who must have such a baggage of experience with her back? Suda couldn't believe he was out of the Virgin Club, but in the end he didn't get away with the whole act. He was led by Rumil. Rumil apologized, but according to the rules of the castle, they cannot be together. So she then left, and the plan to steal the pendant failed. But Sauta stated that he would not give up. It's been a few days now. Rumil noted the girl growing in her eyes, and this is the first time she's seen such a hungry girl. She's unarmored, and she can get her into the pod, but there's trouble with the guard at the entrance to the room. If anything happens to her, they'll take her head off in a heartbeat. Rumil stated that the evening was magical. Lusta shared that she is lonely. Is she being left behind again? Rumil apologized that she doesn't want to leave, but those are the rules. Soda noted that even that didn't work. What a hard quest to steal the damn pendant. There is no way out, and he has one last resort left. In 3 days, he will finish this quest. 3 days later in the castle, someone shouted that the invaders attacked them. Demons noted whether again adventurous young suckers, with one shot or put down. Convenient this weightlessness stone, the target flies up immediately, but how then flies down? However, they managed to get to them and somehow all of them were knocked out of action. The main thing now is to protect the control cabin, not enough for them to land the lock and attack the ground. Morozumi Shinji appeared and ordered the demons not to go any further. They didn't understand how he had gotten here, since only a limited number of demons knew about this road. Shinji used the arc swing technique, and Suda noted that he was a true holy swordsman. Seal noted that she and Shinji would take over the control booth, let him move on. They still hadn't lost a drop of blood and luck was on their side, though he's the one who screwed up the artillery as well and told the guys on the secret route. But demons have a thing for obeying a stronger individual. Including some individuals and her team, they don't know how to fight back. So the one he can rely on now is Kuro. The demons were shocked. He's a monster and they need to defeat him. Amazingly, this Kuro is not the same as he saw him in the prison tower. Kuroi, ask them if their ribs are itchy, but let him take his time because his name is the legend of his power to kill them. He may have 8th grade syndrome, but he's still cool. Kuro called the holy sword to laugh and the demon sword to shake. The guy scatters them like children, but they keep coming and coming, and there's no end in sight. Sauda, for what it is fantastic, he is 1 against 100, but his strength is running out. Rumil said she didn't think people like this would show up, and she's surprised. To single-handedly kill so many angels, even though he's the enemy, is commendable. She might even pay him an unheard-of riches if he wanted to join their ranks. Kuro called Uni a lowlife. Does she really think such things make a slave for him? Rumil wondered what about women, at the dawn of their fighting power. If he joined them, he could choose any waitress he liked as a close assistant. Sauda urged him mentally to fight back. Rumil noted that since he was willing, she had no choice but to let him die for King Ibris. Losta called out to Rumil and asked her to stand. Rumil asked the girl what she was doing here. She was ordered to yield. Losta urged her to please surrender. Rumil did not understand why the apostles had rebelled against her. Thanks to the guy, he was able to capture 15 angels, and then he's done. So let Kuro rest. She only wants his pendant, so she gives it to him, and they won't hurt her. Rumil betrayed her. She loved her. Suda saw the truth of Rumil's appearance. She has a good digit. The angels should have surrounded her and then felled her or lit her up in the end. But today was his day. Sotu turned to Kuro, and I restlessly started asking if he could still fight. Kuro turned to his mother and told her that he wanted to eat that ant's tit, and he was completely overwhelmed. Rumil appeared behind her back, and turning to the girl told her to go with her, and not to apologize to Mr. Ibris together. She would be there for him, and then she had better punish him herself. Lusta did not understand. She accepted her, she was ready to forgive. Yes, what has he become to her though since? So there is one thought. Losta apologized for what she had kept from her until now. Rumil stated that she was happy that she was listening to her request. Losta stated that she didn't want to lie to her anymore and she would show her true colors. Rumil noted that Losta's subspecies was a guy hiding and that it was so stupid. It looks like a dream, but no means in bed she was sharing with this boy. Rumil was too much shocked, and so she passed out. Suda asked her for an appeal that he cheated and pretended. He thought carefully and decided that he should take her with him. The pendant emits light and similar light and will bring him there to the throne room. Suda walked to a dead end. Even though the light looks exactly into this wall, he put his hand on it and the entrance opened. It's a secret passage and the wall is haunted, and only with a pendant can you go through it. Sauda saw a Carly hanging. He asked her to hold on. Well, Hunkel appeared and told him to take his time. Is it so easy not to notice, though? Yes, he is only the mighty Ibris. Sauda had a strange feeling all around her as if it had already happened. Hunkel clarified that the guy's name was Kazahaya Sauda. If he had shown up, yours would have come to him and thanked him for saving his time. He wanted to talk to him. Did he think he'd seen him a long time ago? Sauda didn't understand what it was. Hunkel noted that he still didn't get it. Okay, he would explain. The mighty Ibris is his name from a past life. The guy reads that he's supposed to take away some nonsense, but it's like everything in him is upside down. Back when he first got here, Aphrodite said only exceptional people get the divine stroke. So why did he, usually Japanese schoolboy given the divine gift of absolute dominance, couldn't find the answer but allowed if it is so then? If he is a former Ibris, then who is he? Hunkel noted that he is a quick thinker. His name is Hunkel. He was a counselor in the army. He won and was absorbed into Ibris's body. Now Suda makes a lot more sense. Caroline knew it. She guessed that he was the mighty Ibris. So she then said that in the castle is actually an imposter. In front of him is the body of a mighty demon, but inside hides a fake. Since this body contains both the body and soul of the great mighty one, they need to fulfill what he so passionately dreamed of. He showed him the legendary sword of the mighty demon. Hunkel thought that the sword was the key to Ibris's closed powers, and he was confused. Why he in the body of the mighty sky could not draw the sword, and all because he is only half. It takes both halves to get him out, and they have to do it. It was his sword memories that told him this. Suda noted that he didn't pull it out, not because he was only half, but because he didn't have the Ibris rod to begin with. Hunkel noted that the sword came easily to him somehow. Well, maybe he'll give it to him then, and he has no use for it anyway. Sauda clarified that if he says no. Hunkel urged him to watch his tongue if the bones are precious. He has a choice to either quietly give him the sword or he will take it from his corpse. Let him choose. Sauda stated his answer, and then he threw the sword away. Neither will be his. The sword flew out of bounds, and Hunkel was terrified when it would be his. Hunkel declared that he had fucked up his chance at life and it was time for him to die. Sauda died like a worm, the soul of Ibris, a human matter anyway, and he died quickly. Caroline called Master, but he mentally told her not to cry. His doing and the truth can't be helped, but it's not over yet. He is moments away from the death of his body. He has managed to transfer his soul into the goblin's body, and there is still time. Sauda has a request for everyone. Let them not gain as much time as possible. Hunkel didn't understand where they were all running to, the weaklings. Sauda apologized to them for putting them in such danger. He replied that there was only a little more to go. Hunkel noted that he was the only one left, and let him die. Suddenly, Aphrodite appeared and asked if she was late, but everything was ready. Hunkel noted that she is a god, and means us how many points could stop him on the ground. None, after which he ordered the fence removed. Zero was suddenly in paradise, and Sauda noted that it didn't look like we had time. The first thing we didn't capture was the control cabin, and there he ordered Seal to gain altitude and all for this moment. Hunkel didn't understand why they didn't think they could win. He's right about something. Aphrodite's stats are higher, but her physical strength is inferior. And they did a little, but victory is not a foregone conclusion. Aphrodite wondered why his face was so tense. Let him relax. She wanted to show him the trump card she had stashed away. The girl turned to the lamb who had lost his way. The goddess Aphrodite gives him a just verdict. She summoned the divine wind. Hunkel shouted that they were idiots and he was the mighty and strongest in this, but he didn't have time to say anything as he simply dissolved. Sauda will be shocked. This is the same spell she tried to use the first time she met the goblin. She killed a powerful demon with this spell where it struck. Aphrodite asked the boy if he realized now that she was fine. A while later, thanks to the magical powers that returned, she was able to heal his body and all his monsters. Finally, they descended to the soft green earth. Sauda asked the goddess if she was really leaving. Aphrodite confirmed that he is coming home too. The power of the gate will last until evening. Sudazol said he would stay. He still had things he wanted to finish. Aphrodite kissed him on the cheek and said that she liked him. Afterwards, she said goodbye and said that they had a good time. He didn't understand why she'd left or why it was his. Ever since he'd forcibly brought her here and she'd lost all her powers and often couldn't do anything to help them, this silly face had helped him out more than once. He thanked her for everything. Some time had passed since Aphrodite had left. A lot of things changed, and he settled in the castle and took the place of a powerful demon. Rumel finished his report to the Lord Mighty Demon. Suta asked if she would not stop calling him that. Rumel said that she would not stop calling him that. As long as he is weakly aware of himself, Ibris, she will continue to call him that. How did it come to this? And it probably started with a ball. The nature of demons is such that once they see the master in the rooms, they do not fail to recognize him. In addition, Caroline and Rumel pressured him, and under their persuasion, he decided to become a demon lord. Of course, this does not mean that he will rule the world, but his goal for which he is trying is to become a link between demons and humans in order to establish peace. So day by day, he tries to create a world where humans and demons would be easy to live in. Rumel brought the enclosed documents, let him save his eyes for today. Caroline wished the host a good job. Carly and Rumel helps him with his work. Nothing has changed, only Carolina is always different. He was also handed a gift from a servant, a novelty from Losta. Suda noted that she was a sorceress. Shiel, Yuko, and Losta joined the ranks of the servants and took a chesky to look after his health. His life changed, but they managed to maintain their fun, warm relationship. But still, their noisiest comrade is sorely missed and somehow saddened by it. Rumil informed the mighty demon lord that they had an emergency. Suda clarified what had happened. Rumil stated that some vulgar girl broke into the castle and impersonates you as his acquaintance, the order to arrest. Then they heard someone yelling for her not to be touched. Sauda recognized the voice. The girl screamed, "Can't they see who she is in front of them, the greatest beautiful goddess? One word and I'll throw her out of here." Aphrodite told them to stop roaring and help her.